What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
You lousy corksuckers.
All right. What is it? Tuesday night? Must be the Tuesday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing out there? What's going on? Who we got in here? We got Rosie spamming the chat. Trudeau survivor already. Who else we got? We got Izzy in the chat already. We got that Spambot in the chat already. All right. Good to see everybody. So thanks for showing up and thanks for remembering that we're starting late. I had a family engagement tonight, so we couldn't do the normal time. But, of course, the show must go on. So here we are late. We got Miles over on the locals. Very well, very well. Miles, so I got a very generous gift on locals, and I think it was the last stream. So I think that must have been Miles. Thank you very much, sir. Let's see. All right. So this chat does show up on the screen. All right. All right, what are we doing? Brian Watson, good to see you too. All right. Over on YouTube. All right. So look, let's check out the menu. What are we talking about first? Then we'll get to the chat and then we'll go back to the stories in detail. So first off, we got some Tom Homan. I think you guys know how that goes. Tom Homan from ICE. He's very serious about get off my land. That's what he says to the illegals. Get off my land. Brown University, the shooting there. Yes. So when I said we're not going to go into too much the other night because we just didn't have the details yet. There was a person of interest. It turns out that definitely wasn't the guy. So there's some new developments. I've not checked the news in the last about 4 hours. So if something has changed, 4 or 5 hours, so if something has changed, you guys let me know in the chat. Bondi Beach, here is the Prime Minister of Australia. And guess whose fault it is? The far right. That's who he's worried about, the far right. Right after the jihad on Bondi Beach, he's worried about the far right. Is Australia lost? I don't know, but it's just still with this insanity. Let's see, we got some Canada stuff. So Mark Carney keeps telling us about how, we have to do everything green and we have to make all of our products way more expensive, with carbon taxes because otherwise Europe won't buy them or something. It's all bullshit. I've been saying for a long time that they're going to have to walk back their net zero stuff. Europe is not going to care about net zero. Guess who they're buying oil and gas from? The United States. No carbon taxes. They don't care. They just need it. The EU economy is falling apart. It's crumbling. They're going to want the cheapest energy. They're not going to give a shit about this net zero stuff. They're walking it all back. Look, already they're exempting heavy industry from carbon taxes as Canada doubles down. That's not smart. I thought Carney said we needed it to be competitive. Competing with who? Nobody. Nobody else is doing it. Now they're walking back their zero emissions car targets from just like Carney wants to do here, from 100% to 90%. They're going to keep walking that back because the stuff is civilization killing. All right, listen, Canada land claims. It's just, we need to find out where that $12.1 million went in Kamloops, because that's a big part of all of this stuff, right? To exhume purported graves at the Indian residential school in Kamloops. That money just went nowhere. Nothing happened. People are digging in. They want to know. Of course they want to know. So Jamil Javani is a friend from school from University of J.D. Vance. And, here's an interview with him saying that he'd love to go and try and help if the Carney government would, ask him. He'd definitely go down, considering that he's good friends with J.D. Vance. That could be helpful. Of course, that's not happening. Why? Because Carney doesn't want to deal. We all know it. He likes it for politics. He likes it to hang around for politics. Let's see. Nonprofit Skate Canada is not going to help kids in Alberta because Danielle Smith refuses to let freaks to let the modern Mengelas do medical gender experiments in Alberta children. So funded by the federal government, of course. Skate Canada. I say fuck them. We'll take a look at that. Oh, here we go. This here too. This is going to be funny. Jonathan K says, ready for some astro gender wang? Behold CBC News latest on astronauts who menstruate. Yeah. Let's see. One small step for periods in space, one giant leap for research in the long-term space missions. An option for astronauts who menstruate. I actually brought up the article so you could see how stupid it is, and then I brought up the research they're basing it on, which actually isn't woke, strangely. So then we've got memes, of course, because we love the memes. We love them. Lots of great memes in here. These on my new channel, Radio Baloney News on YouTube, where all of the world news, meme reviews, U.S. news, all of that stuff goes. That's where these meme reviews go. You have to subscribe to the new channel, the new one. It's the featured channel on the homepage to get the meme review clips where I clean it all up. And not every, lots of people miss I think it's the most consistently popular videos on that channel. People seem to love them. All right, JD Vance, what's going on here? JD Vance fires back at a reporter who asked him about these. They're saying he's a conspiracy theorist. What's new? Who's not? Who on the right wing isn't a conspiracy theorist to the left, to any leftist journalist, to any progressive journalist? Just everybody. They just throw it around. It's like a magic spell. It's not working anymore. JD Vance responds to that. We got some woke mind virus here. What the hell's going on? My grandpa was watching a sexist movie last night, and I asked him to turn it off so I could talk about how and why it was sexist. Did these giant dingbats still exist? I thought they didn't exist anymore. I thought this was over. This thing, telling your grandpa that the movie he's watching is sexist, the classic movie that he's watching. I thought this was over. They still exist? Apparently so, and they still look like that too. Let's see. Christmas market in Montreal. Crazy Palestinians bothering everybody. What's new? So the constituents of Michael Ma, the floor crosser, the traitor who left the Conservative Party, he was bribed by Carney or just told by the Chinese Communist Party to leave the Conservatives, go to the Liberal Party, even though 3 days before he was absolutely excoriating the Liberals for their policy. Apparently he likes them now. His constituents are out. They've been making themselves very, very visible and not letting this die. And they're demanding that he resign and they can have a by-election because they did not vote for Carney. Because that's really, when you're voting for the party platform. You're really voting for the leader, right? Yes, your local MP can do good things for your community. But these people were voting for Pierre Poilievre. They're voting for conservative policies. It's outrageous what's been happening. And the media just loving it, lapping it up. It's the most wonderful thing. Boy, Pierre Poilievre must be a terrible leader or something. No interest at all in this guy's Chinese connections. None whatsoever. These guys are thinking about it. We'll be talking more about those Chinese connections in the future, by the way. Let's see. London's Muslim mayor, Sadiq Khan, is trying to stop a vigil for the victims of Bondi. I don't know. They're not hiding it. They're not hiding it. Let's see. They're not hiding anything. They're just telling me exactly what they think. Here's Konstantin. This is the last bookmark for the evening. We've got something very good here. He's talking about the reaction, the canned reaction every single time there is a terrorist attack. This is a very good video, actually. We've got lots of stuff. Lots and lots of stuff. Whoa, what the heck is happening there? Holy crap. What the hell? Oh, no. It's AI. You don't have to feel bad. It's AI. It's not a real person. Come on. Maze carved entirely out of snow. Well, I have to see that. That's something I have to see. What's going on there? Lots of stuff. We'll get to this. We got a bit of comedy, everything in there. It's going to be fun. That's what we'll do right at the end of the stream. It's going to be good times, everybody. Cooking shows. Everybody likes those. Well, this is a nice cooking show here, actually. I like this one. She's chopping up vegetables there. So doing a great job. Great job, girl. And yeah, I don't know. So what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Everybody subscribe to the channel. Everybody like the stream. Don't you know that we're streaming right now on Rumble, first and foremost, then YouTube. We are streaming right now on X. We're streaming on Locals. And when you like the stream, and of course, when you subscribe and send me money and all kinds of wonderful things, anything like that, you get good karma because I build up a reservoir of good karma while I'm getting everything ready for the streams. Of course, I can't keep it because that would be bad karma, so I have to give it to you. And when you like the stream, you get that good karma. You get a good dose of it. Well, when you're one of the first ones in, you get extra. How much? I don't know. We decide every single time. What is it tonight? Who got the first like and how much will it be? Rosie got the first like tonight. That is quintuple good karma. 5 times good karma for you. Nothing bad can happen to you now. Let's see. Anybody else got... Nobody else is claiming their karma in here. I don't know. Well, whoever got second, you get 4. Oh, Izzy says like number 2. That's 4 good karma for you. Or quadruple, as they say. Anybody else in there? No. Anyway, if you're third, you get 3. If you're fourth, you get 2. You get it. All right. So what are you guys talking about anyway? I don't know. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know you people. Let's see. Let's learn. Trudeau Survivor says, my flashlights have been sitting in customs since December 9th. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but Trudeau Survivor ordered these incredibly powerful flashlights. We're talking, these things are like 2 miles. They can shine on something from like 2 miles away. I think they might actually be kind of hazardous, kind of dangerous. You certainly wouldn't want to look right into one. They're very powerful flashlights. Let's see. Quite annoying. They are probably trying to figure out how much they can force me to pay in taxes. Maybe so. Hopefully you'll get them soon. Let's see. Rosie's wrapping presents. That's very nice. Yeah, no more trolling. Rosie. No, that's over. That is over now. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, a few days ago on a run, I rounded a blind corner and some idiot had his 80-pound Rottweiler on a 12-foot leash. A high-powered flashlight would have been better than the one I had on me. 100%. The dogs, the big Rottweilers, the vicious man-eaters, the man-killing dogs, they don't like it. You flash that at them, they're going to run away. That's why it's smart to have one of the most, maybe the most powerful flashlight in the world. These things literally, it's like 3 miles. Let's see what else we got. Rosie asks, was it dark or do you mean for defense? Trudeau Survivor says, the dog instantly took an aggressive posture. The area is for walking and running. So why does idiot decide to bring his poorly trained dog there? Who knows? You need that flashlight. It's actually a really good thing, actually. They don't like it. Rosie says, people ride bikes on our walking trails. This is dangerous too. No comment. Yeah, Rosie says, if you are able to scroll up Izzy, there's no mistaking it was Rosie. Rosie was number 1. All right, let's see. I'm going to scooch down the chat a little bit, I think. Brian Watson, how you doing, Brian? Says, seeing high-ranking official from United Arab Emirates say Toronto could be another Bondi. It's going to be everywhere. Look, like the cat's out of the bag. Like we know, right? When you get a high enough concentration, this is going to happen. It's not right. How can you be racist against an ideology, by the way? I've never been able to figure that one out. but it's not bigoted. It's just simply true. Like, the data's in, right? We've seen the data. It's going to happen. It's predictable as anything. Like, it will happen. Of course it's going to happen. Of course, it's happened here before, and it's going to happen again and everywhere else with the same issue. Trudeau Survivor says, Wikipedia has pages on dog attacks on people resulting in death. Rottweilers make up a significant number of kills. Well, I bet that they do. But here's my thing. I think that if you've got a vicious dog and it escapes your yard or whatever, and it gets, and it attacks somebody, kills somebody, you are charged for murder. So it's pretty easy. Don't have a vicious dog, right? Like, you can have a vicious poodle, fine. Have a vicious chihuahua, fine. Here's a good rule in life. Never be afraid of something you can kill by stepping on, okay? Vicious chihuahua, fine. It's not going to kill anybody. Just package of fucking muscle with a jaw that can crush your head. And then, I'm sorry. Look, if that dog goes on and does something, I don't care what a sweet family dog it is. If it kills somebody, if it mauls somebody, if it rips somebody's face off, it ain't a nice family dog. You can't say that anymore. So your dog does the crime, you do the time. That's what I say. Rosie says, good to know. Merry Christmas, Rosie says. Merry Christmas. My mood is improving. LOL. Good. Well, we want to have a Merry Christmas. We all do. Let's see. So we do got, oh my God, something beautiful has happened, people. Something beautiful has happened. My greed has been appealed to. Miles Buckley has, let's see what we can do here. Hold on. Let's put this on the screen. Miles Buckley has done a $5 rant or Locals rant or whatever it is. It's from Locals, $5. Now, you know what that means. That means that Miles is the best person who ever lived, bar none. Whoever your heroes are, I don't want to hear about them. They're all human garbage. There's one number one. There can be only one, and there is only one. Miles, number one, best person ever. Thank you for appealing to my greed. And all for less than the cost of a brand new Tesla Cybertruck. It's a beautiful thing, people. Beautiful thing. Thanks, Miles. Let's see. Judo Survivor says, if YouTube wasn't so commie, then Rumble would never have gotten as popular. It's true. 100% true. They're still suppressing me over there. They just never frickin' ends. Let's see. All right. I did see it. Thank you so much. Izzy says, I was too distracted with the wardrobe malfunction. Maybe it's too distracted. Let's see. How about the coffee one? I think we like the coffee one too. That's a good one. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, the Canadian government is pushing methane emission control, but methane is only 0.00018% of the atmosphere and decomposes after only 10 years. So that's a good information to know. Thank you. Let's see. Now what are we doing? I'm going to scoot down the chat a little bit. What's this? Trudeau Survivor says, well, I got to get to the beginning of this conversation. Something about Walsh. Spamwood says Walsh should do a spacewalk without a suit. Judas Driver says, Tim will also be wearing a ceremonial Somalian dress. Tim Walsh, a communist. I hate white people. I'm Tim Walsh. He's just such a gross person. Radio Streamer got like number 7. That can't be bad. Like number 7. That's like 1.5 good karmas for you, my friend. Pretty good. That's not bad. Vegetable cutting girl looks the fittest. Trudeau says it's true. She does. What else we got? Ottawa James number 4. That would be 2 double good karma, my friend. Let's see. Radio Streamer prefers his 9mm for problems like that. The dog problem. Not the flashlight, but the dog in Canada, though. I mean, you know. Let's see. All right, I got to skip down a little bit. All right, that's it. Let's just get into the stories, people. I think it's time. Okay, let's go. So let's take a look at this. What do we got going on here? From Overton posted this. This may go down as one of the most powerful moments we've ever seen from Tom Homan. I love Tom Homan. He's great. The Western world needs more Tom Homans, right? He's like a relic from the past, right? Like there needs to be more of these no-nonsense guys who are not going to apologize. We need an army of them, like across. We need an army of Tom Homans to do like a crusade for Western civilization across all of Western civilization, right? These are the guys who. It's this kind of person who actually built Western civilization, right? He's not apologizing for anything. He's not worried about hurting people's feelings. He's not worried what people will say about him or call him mean or an ist or whatever. He's just got a job to do, and he knows he's doing the right thing, and he's going to do it, and he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. And we need an army of people like this across the entire Western world. Let's go.
You know, it's always an honor for me to be in the Oval Office with the greatest president of my lifetime. Yes, I said it, and I meant it. You know, I just got home last night. I toured the border in California, Arizona, and Texas. I did it in a four-wheel drive. I did it on the river. I did it from the air. Hundreds upon hundreds of miles of border. I didn't see one illegal alien. Not a single one. I've done this since 1984. I worked for 6 different presidents. No one's done more than President Trump. What he has done is give us the most secure border in the history of this nation. Hard to stop. I went to hundreds of miles of border and didn't see one illegal alien. Incredible, considering the Biden administration, we had 10, 12,000 a day, most released in the United States. I'm proud to be with these patriots behind me. I'm already proud to be in the Oval Office of the President, but being with these heroes, I met some of these soldiers down on the border. And actually, a shout out to Fort Drum, New York. We got some 10th Mountain Division here. So Elise Stefanik, Claudia Tenney, we all love Fort Drum and the 10th Mountain. So look, this is a game changer. I want to make something perfectly clear. Because we get attacked all the time being inhumane. The Biden administration is much more humane. It's a bunch of crap. Because there's been studies done that 31% of women that make that journey through the cartels get sexually assaulted. They get raped. And not just the women, children too. I've done numerous investigations in that. Sex trafficking was at historic highs with that open border. Fentanyl, historic highs that killed 250,000 Americans. No inspector terrorists that came across the border. Record, historic. What happened under the Biden administration was the most inhumane thing I've seen in my lifetime. Now that the border is 96% decline, 96% less people are coming, how many women aren't being raped? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked into this country every day? How many known suspected terrorists aren't just walking across that border? President Trump and this administration is saving thousands of lives every month. Hard stop. That's just a stone cold fact. I'm just proud to be a part of this. I work with Steve Miller every day. Steve Miller is one of the most brilliant people I've met in my entire life. President Trump brought together one hell of a team here, and the success proves we all working together, one team, one fight. We're not done yet. We're going to keep going, and I guarantee you we can continue saving thousands and thousands of lives. Secure border means strong national security. Secure border saves lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
After hearing that about, what he has witnessed, what happened to children, to women, during the, turn a blind eye Biden regime, who's going to say he has no compassion? Who's going to say he has no empathy? This is what real empathy and compassion looks like. This is what real decency looks like. Okay, this is actual decency, right? This is a guy who's not a child. Okay, he's confronted reality. Okay, and he's agreed to deal with reality on its own terms, as a strong man, as an adult would do. This is what decency actually looks like, right? It doesn't look like AOC crying outside of a fence, turning a blind eye to mass rape, abuse of children, so she can virtue signal. That's not decent. That's not a strong person. That's not a good person. This is what it looks like. You need these kinds of people if you want to have a functioning society, a fair and a decent society. And as for, he's talking about, he's flying over the border. He didn't see a single illegal alien, a single person trying to cross into the United States illegally. For all of Trump's flaws, right? For all of his, ill manners at times, right? That's the most important thing any president has done in decades. Because Biden he threw the gates open. I mean, they have no idea how many terrorist cells flowed in. I mean, there was literally nothing stopping them. The gates were flung open. They knew to throw their idea away. That's how you got in. You got in by not, I mean, it made it easier to just throw away your ID. That's how insane it was. Every adversary of the United States was flooding the United States with their people, saboteurs, spies, terrorists. Every terrorist organization was obviously, so why wouldn't you? You'd be crazy not to. Obviously, you're offered that kind of opportunity. You can just get your people in, and they're not even going to check them. They're not going to vet anybody. Obviously, that's going to happen. So stopping that was incredibly important. Incredibly. What was it? I mean, low estimates, 12 million people Biden let in, completely unvetted. How many would it have been under Kamala? 30, 20, 30 million? I mean, that's not implausible. That actually would make perfect sense. So that one thing, stopping that tsunami into the United States, that alone, I mean, he's done other things which I think are going to work out very well for the United States in the long run as well. But just that one thing was worth it for having to see some tweets where you go, oh, God, don't say that. Oh, no, I don't like that. But some things are more important than tweets and virtue signaling after all, huh? All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. What are you guys talking about? Man, I'm in good form tonight. Holy jeez, I'm in good form. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Radio Streamer says, I can honestly see Tom Holman running for president after J.D. Vance, even vice president. I could maybe see him as vice president. I don't know if he's really, president. I think he's maybe a little, I think he'd be a good president, but maybe also as well, like he's really good in his lane, right? Hold on. There we go. He's really good in his lane, right? I don't know if he'd be dynamic enough to deal with all of the issues that a president would have to deal with, but maybe. Ottawa James says Tom Holman is the best. He's very good. Rosie says not one. Excellent. Fleeter May says, how you doing? I love Tom Holman because he loves children and wants to protect them. Yeah, that's what real empathy looks like, what he's doing. Rosie says, Rosie O'Donnell needs to stay in Ireland until she can live up to her great name. Well, maybe they'll kick her out. I mean, it's annoying having her around, right? Maybe they'll just say, no, they'll say, we don't like Trump either, but you're worse. Let's see. Rosie says, the strong invitation to traverse the danger was not compassionate. No, that's not what compassionate looks like. It's turning a blind eye to the consequences of your policy is not compassion. It's like the progressives, stepping over the drug addicts in their, safe supply harm reduction city, stepping over the people overdosing on the way to get their chai latte. I don't see very much empathy there. I mean, sure, they'll argue the case. No, it's definitely compassionate. But I don't really see it. I don't see them actually caring. Rosie says they made an app to communicate a show and show them how to break in. It made the trafficking super easy. Well, I know they had the app to fly them in. It's actually fly them in by the plane full. Fucking crazy. Trudeau Survivor says, all men in that video, nice to see the absence of demographic pandering. Well, it's not that there are no women that are tough and that are, willing to confront reality. It's just that it's more of a male trait. So it's going to be more men. Rather, there won't be any women. I mean, look at Margaret Thatcher, right? I mean, the left hated her, the Iron Lady, right? But by and large, it's a masculine movement. It's a masculine motivation. Glitch. What glitch? What are you talking about? I don't see any glitches. All good now. Okay, good. All right. Let's get to the next one. So this is the latest information that I have. I've put this one in the wrong one. This should be in Bondi Beach. Okay, hold on. We'll have to go back to actually, hold on. We'll do Brown first. Okay. Joshua Hall breaking Brown University. Now, if there's any updates on this that I haven't seen, you guys put it in the chat. And maybe we'll go to live now after we read this and see if there's any live updates on it. Breaking Brown University, Rhode Island shooting suspect has been identified as Mustafa Karbouch, a radical Islamic pro-jihad student at Brown who uses an X account, as suddenly a student at Brown whose X account has suddenly mysteriously disappeared. This is why the Democratic authorities in Providence and mainstream media has been covering up his identity from us. It's not a very good look narrative for them. Karbouch has reportedly now fled the university and is missing. Bring him to swift American justice. We are at war with Islam. So they had a person of interest, and God damn it, hold on. So they had a person of interest on the last stream, and I said, we need to hold off on this one because this is not looking. It's still up in the air, right? So the guy they had is gone. They let him go. It was not him, but I want to show you something. Hold on. Coulter's Law is in effect at Brown University. This is from the 13th. At Brown University, until we hear otherwise, since it's been over 6 hours since the shooting took place and we know nothing about the shooter, Coulter's Law from Ann Coulter, the longer we go without being told the race of the shooters, the less likely it is to be white men. And it looks like Coulter's Law wins again. Here's the guy. Here's an image of the guy here. And this does match, at least, roughly the guy in the picture. So let's take a look. Right there. So it's kind of a chubby guy. All right. Let's go take a look at the picture here. So that would physically match this guy. We don't know about height. I don't know about height, but physically that looks like the same guy. It's got about the same. He's pretty pale. But that could easily be the same guy. I don't know that it is. It's not confirmed yet, but wait a second. Got to check something. Okay. Yeah. So that's where we are. The last that I saw. So, was there anything else new? So Laura Loomer, along with the fact that the Brown University shooter allegedly shouted Allahu Akbar before he started shooting, another dead giveaway that the shooter is likely Muslim is the way the shooter was seen standing on newly released CCTV footage. In Islamic culture, it's common for men to stand with their hands behind their backs. That's a very Middle Eastern behavior. Well, the standing with your hands behind your back. I mean, I've done that before, so I'm not sure that means too much. There are reports, although not confirmed yet, of Allahu Akbar, and we all know what that means. Those are the two most feared words in the world anywhere, because if you're on a bus or you're walking down the street or you're on a plane and you hear those two words, you know things are about to get bad. So I find it highly plausible, but not. I haven't seen absolute confirmation yet. I can obviously you're going to have certain authorities that are, depending on where you are, that are going to want to hide that and obscure that, and you've got Coulter's rule. But it's starting to look a bit more like what everybody thought, right? Mustafa Karbouch, a radical Islamic pro-jihad student. I mean, you say pro-jihad student, it's just, isn't that like 95% of students at especially elite universities now are just all pro-jihad? I mean, they're just soaked in jihadism. I'm not talking, not just the Muslim ones, all of them. Just every student who gets in is immediately told, river to the sea, and just drenched in jihadism. Trudeau Survivor says, aloha snack bar. If you hear that on a flight to Hawaii, you know something bad's about to happen. So, but it's all looking like what everybody thought, isn't it? Although, we'll keep following it. The news is coming out slowly from that, very slowly. Hold on, let me update this. So, you just keep seeing this over and over again. Here's the Prime Minister of Australia, and it's the far right that he's worried about. Of course, you see this over and over again. I mean, it's just suicidal stupidity, incredible stupidity. How can people like this, or Keir Starmer is no different, Carney's no different. How can they get out in public and say things like this? I mean, it's just so obviously ridiculous. Just such an obvious lie.
We take ASIO's advice very seriously. We work closely with them. We receive regular updates as well. The Director General of ASIO has warned about a range of threats, be it anti-Semitism, the rise of right-wing extremist groups as well. And we continue to work closely with our security agency.
What did he say? You've just had a jihad slaughter on Bondi Beach. Okay. What did he say here?
Anti-Semitism, the rise of right-wing extremist groups as well.
Really? What about that whole global jihad thing that we've been hearing for 2 years nonstop? What about that? Because this kind of looks like that whole global jihad thing, doesn't it? Far right? What? Are you worried that the far right's going to tweet something and you'll have to throw him in prison for life? What the hell is this? Fuck you. Everybody knows what's going on here. Okay? Do you know how many times there's been an attack of the same kind since 9/11? 48,000 times around the world. 48,000 times around the world. He's worried about the far right. They might tweet something. We've got to be very concerned about that. Got to be concerned about the far right. They might. Who is the far right, by the way? Who's the far right? The far right is anybody who just accurately describes reality and states the freaking obvious. That's who the far right is. That's what he's afraid of. He's afraid of people noticing what everybody has already noticed. He wants people to remain afraid to accurately describe reality and state the obvious. The far right. Fuck you. It's just suicidal stupidity. In response to a Pakistani Muslim attack that killed 12, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says that right-wing extremist groups are the main threat. Oh, of course, yeah, and they're proposing new gun laws to restrict gun ownership there. No plans to deport Muslims, though. That went great. Nobody being able to defend themselves, being sitting ducks. Yeah, that went great. Nobody being able to defend themselves, being sitting ducks. That went great. Just great. Yeah, the solution is to make people even more vulnerable. That was from Wall Street Mavs. You see this stuff. It just happens over and over and over again. And the response from these, what are these squid people? Is that a thing? Squid people? Can we call people squid people? He does look a bit like a squid, doesn't he? I don't know. Just off the top of my head. From these people, it's the same response, the same insane, irrational manipulation from these people over and over and over again. How can it keep happening? You would have to have no soul to be this guy to get up and say that. Marty up north posted this. ABC is Australia's CBC. This lady lets the reporter have it. So what does she have to say? Something about stop with your biased reporting. Well, if they're anything like the CBC, that ain't going to happen. Let's take a look.
How are you feeling right now? Because there's some really good things happening here around this community. Like a lot of people are coming together.
We're so appreciative of that, yeah. How are we feeling? Is this what you wanted? Is this enough now? Will you listen to us? Albanese, Wong, will you listen to us? Will you actually do something? Will you actually... don't have to stand up and say anything because we don't believe you anyway. And ABC, I've got to say, will you cut out the biased reporting? Mainstream media, we feel will you cut it out? Will you actually let us have a voice? Because we feel that part of the reason that the Jewish people have experienced such a massive change in Australia towards us. I'm Aussie. You know, and I'm not a religious Jewish girl, but a woman. But since October the 7th, since all the hatred that's been thrown at us, I started to wear my Magen David because I'm Jewish. And if you have something to say, you can say it to me. And ABC, please stop with the biased reporting.
Victoria, we are so sorry for what you are going through and what you have been through, and we really hope that your father recovers. I know all of us here, we are horrified by what has been going on. So thank you for joining us and sharing your story, Victoria.
Thank you.
We're going to keep lying, though. We're going to call you a far right and try and have you thrown in prison. They're not going to, again, if they're anything like the CBC, they're not going to stop lying. Their job is to lie. They are shameless and soulless. Right? They will just keep lying. They won't stop past the point when you go, well, they can't keep lying now. Obviously, everybody can see what's happening. They will keep lying and manipulating. It's their job. It's just crazy. People are... when will enough people wake up? That's the question. When will enough people wake up? Ryan Garrettson posted this. It's all the same playbook our Western governments are reading from. This may as well be a liberal politician speaking. Well, it's like the teleprompters, the speechwriters. It's just the same guy. And they just changed the names, but they're all reading from the same script. What's this here? And, all right, let's take a look.
They need to change, and they can change. It does require legislation, and it means introducing a bill to Parliament to be really blunt, make it more difficult to get these horrifying weapons that have no practical use in our community. If you're not a farmer, if you're not involved in agriculture, why do you need these massive weapons that put...
Why do you need the jihad? Why do you need the global intifada? Because you don't have to have it, right? There's a way that you cannot have that. Like how it used to be, like how you used to not have that.
The public in danger and make life dangerous and difficult for New South Wales Police. So I understand, of course I understand the genuine desire to have information about how the law will change. We're less than 24 hours into this horrifying crime. I want to make sure that legislation and reform that we bring to Parliament makes a big difference, but that's exactly my intention, and my colleagues feel exactly the same way.
So that's the solution after the slaughter. Let's see. Ignore the real cause, some gibberish about the far right, and make everybody even more vulnerable for the next time. That will surely happen. Guaranteed to happen with their policies. It's just, how long can it continue? Everybody knows what's going on now. Everybody knows. Here, the mother of the terrorist who killed Jews at Bondi Beach in Sydney says he is a good boy and that anyone would wish to have a son like my son. Well, any jihadi lady, maybe. It was a father and son team. What do you think? The mother had no idea of their thoughts, of their ideology? Yeah, so like any jihadi woman, right? Any psychopath would wish to have a son like... See, this is the West going to wake up? There's a bit of a problem here. Bit of a cultural difference here, right? Little bit of a cultural difference. You don't want your children to be martyrs, right? So, all right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. And very quickly, new channel on YouTube for the YouTube watchers. Rumble, don't worry, everything's the same. Radio Baloney News, featured channel on this channel. This is where all of the world news, U.S. news, UK news, woke mind virus, meme reviews all go onto here. It's a wonderful channel. It's got all this nutritious content on it. The only way you can see all these beautiful videos, big beautiful videos, is to subscribe to the new channel, Radio Baloney News. Go do that immediately. The algorithm hates me. They hate you. Don't let them win. Subscribe to the channel. Make a purple-haired gremlin cry. Please. All right. What are you guys saying? Nevada, how you doing, JJ? Lucky 11 on the like button. Lucky 11. That's a beautiful 1.08 good karmas for you. I just did that math in my head. Pretty good, right? Good stuff. Let's see. Ottawa James says CBC sucks. It certainly does. CBC sucks. CBC sucks. It does. Let's see. Dramus, how you doing? Says, back from YouTube, my Rumble was down. My Rumble was down. I don't know what's going on, man. I can't fix nothing. Let's see. What are you guys saying? What are you guys talking about? Izzy says, people are waking up. It is becoming harder to hide. Yeah, they're going to try all the harder. The globalists are not going to go without a fight, right? They're going to fight tooth and nail. They're going to pass every crazy law that they can to try and suppress their reality and hold on to power. Let's see. As he says, we have a coordinated attack on Western countries. Yep. Obviously so. Nevada says, oh, I thought it was going to start around 8. I know, I said 8, but then I got back a little earlier than I thought. So I thought, well, we'll just start at 7:30. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, hello, great leader. Greenland awaits. As everybody knows on this channel, it's a long-running thing. JJ Nevada will not rest until he has conquered Greenland, and he will rule it as an emperor. And I'm looking forward to that personally. I think he's going to do great things. Trudeau Survivor says, you missed who got the first like of the stream. Shut up. No, I didn't. I said it was Rosie. Shut up. Shut up. Let's say, Nevada says, time for some Crusaders. Izzy says, yeah, you don't want to kill people for not agreeing with your beliefs. Exactly. I don't want to do that. I'm not the ones who do that. We see it on the news all the time, the people that actually want to do that. Let's see. Izzy says, I've been trying to read what it says on her shirt, but that wiggle is too distracting. The coffee lady on the screen. Yeah, I can't read it. I don't know what it says. I think it's like Italian or something. All right, let's get back to the show. So, yes, the brown. Oh, back to. Okay, so there is one person in Australia who actually seems to recognize reality. Australian MP Bob Catter calls for migrant deportations after a Bondi beach attack. Well, look, I mean, what are they going to do? Like, do you want to just have this forever? Because you know it's going to continue. It's not going to stop, right? Like, there's kind of like 1,500 years of backstory on this, right? Like, it's probably not going to stop tomorrow.
I want their names because we have had a tradition of toleration. These people are not tolerating us. So you don't tolerate us, we want you out of this country, right? Because this country is fed up with your, we must be nice to everybody. Well, I'm not particularly nice to people that crossed the border, invaded another country and murdered over 1,200 people. Tick the boxes. Do they have democracy? Do they have rule of law? Do they have Christianity or some similar belief system? Do they have egalitarian traditions? Do they have industrial awards? Now, if they don't tick the boxes, they don't come here. If you have anti-Australian sentiments, then get the hell out of my country. I want their name.
See, this is just dealing with reality on its own terms. This isn't, oh, well, I don't want somebody to think I'm mean. You can't have a society if you're worried that people are going to think you're mean. If you won't do common sense things, if you won't do just the basics to ensure the survival of your civilization, because you're worried people will think that you're mean, you're not going to have one. I mean, Western civilization is by far the pinnacle of human well-being and progress and technology, just every metric that you could measure human well-being by. Life expectancy, just everything. It is the pinnacle, and it's not even close. We did something pretty fucking good. All right? It is good. It is objectively good. It's demonstrably good. It's demonstrably the best. Stop apologizing. Stop pretending we've done something wrong. Shut up. The rest of look at world history, okay? It's not a happy story. All right, we took lemons and we made lemonade, right? The best lemonade ever, okay? Anyway, this is just, this is it. This is it. This is the solution to Western civilization's problems. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, is that an Aussie Tom Holman? It sounds like it, doesn't it? Let's see. Nevada says, yes, GTFO. GTFO. He knows it's almost time to kick ass then, Radio Streamer says. Yep. Radio Streamer says that's an FAFO face if I have ever seen one. An FAFO face if I've ever seen one. He means business. These are the kinds of faces that built Western civilization, by the way. The pinnacle of human well-being. And it's not even close. Do you know what else is great, though? See what else is great. Still scrambling for a Christmas gift while many shipping deadlines have already passed? Here's your lifeline. Chicago Steak Company. Head to mychicagosteak.com/rumble. Code RUMBLE. RUMBLE. They're still shipping for Christmas, and shipping is free. Hurry, though. Slots are filling up fast. Gift your loved ones the top 2% of beef in America. USDA, prime, and premium Angus. Hand cut by master butchers, and those are the best kinds of butchers everybody knows. Marbling so good it hits a hot pan and fills the whole house. That buttery meat goodness, you know the one. It's making me hungry right now. Spend $229 and they'll throw in 6 free ribeyes plus free shipping. $240 in premium steak on the house, which is the best way. Your gift shows up in a black and gold box packed with dry ice. That is super fun. They crack it open, vapor rolls out, instant Christmas morning feel. Skip the sweater. Give them something they'll actually remember. You know what it is. mychicagosteak.com/rumble. Code RUMBLE. That's mychicagosteak.com/rumble. Code RUMBLE. RUMBLE. You know what to do. Oh, steak ads. Come on. I mean, for me, it's coffee ads, steak ads. I mean, that's the two. That's the two that really do it for me. I love it. I love the steak ads. A beautifully written ad, by the way. It's a pleasure to read. Radio Streamer says, I bet those steaks come from a commie free cow. Absolutely. Because those are the best. Let's see. Yeah, ribeyes, Ottawa James says. Beautiful. Let's see. Radio Streamer says 7.2 out of 10 needs more commie hate. Now, I'm not a biologist, but I do believe 7.2 out of 10 is the most you can get out of 10 anyway. So the joke's on you, my friend. Ottawa James says Bob Catter, that's the guy on the screen, is an Aussie independent MP. Well, yeah, it would have to be independent, I guess. He makes too much sense. Let's move on. So, Mark Carney keeps telling us about how we have to destroy our industry in order to make it competitive. Destroy it through carbon taxes and just making it too expensive and, expensive regulations and carbon captures and all this stuff. It's the only way we can sell our natural resources to anybody. According to Mark Carney, while the U.S. is sending oil and natural gas in record amounts to Europe with none of this stuff. There's no carbon capture. There's no carbon taxes. It's almost as if Carney is lying, and he's trying to convince the Canadian people that they should give all of their present wealth and future wealth while he maxes out the national credit card, give all of that to companies, green companies somehow associated with Mark Carney, so that Mark Carney can leave office a much, much wealthier man than when he got in. Now, he tells us Europe will only do business with us if we make our products totally way more expensive than everybody else's. That's the only way. Well, let's see. I've been saying for a long time now, no, Europe is not going to do that. All this net zero stuff is going to end up being nothing. It's going to be just a facade because Europe is crumbling. The largest economy in Europe is Germany. They're deindustrializing at the moment because of all their green nonsense. And Russia as well, I will say. But they're in a suicidal death spiral in Europe, right? They're going to just need the cheapest energy they can get. If you don't have energy, you don't have a civilization, right? Let's see. They're already walking stuff back. Europe walks back zero emissions target in 2035 from 100% to 90%. They want 90% of sales by 2035 to be emissions free. Automakers can sell whatever they want, plug-in hybrids, traditional hybrids, even combustion engine cars. So this is going to keep getting walked back, and there'll be provisions put into it so that none of it actually happens. Maybe there'll be, again, some facade, right, that doesn't actually do anything and doesn't affect anything and nobody follows. Here, this is back from July. EU exempting heavy industry from carbon tax as Canada doubles down. Again, also, while the U.S. is shipping in record numbers natural gas and oil to Europe, because they just need it. It turns out they don't actually give a shit if you do any of the net zero stuff. They just want it. They want it as cheap as possible because it's a crumbling edifice. Their economy is collapsing. Mark my words. I've been saying this for a long time. You'll just see more and more of this, walking it back until there's really nothing. Like they can't afford luxury policies in Europe anymore. Like I think it's starting to sink in. Like if they don't get their house in order, they're going to have revolutions there. What's this? All right. Let's move on. What's going on here? So, I want to show you this. So, Truth and Reconciliation in Canada is going to require actual truth, which we are getting not even very little. We're getting no truth. We're just getting hoaxes and lies at this point. Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom, Canada, posted this. 4 years after receiving $12.1 million from our Canadian taxpayers to exhume the supposed graves of 215 children, the Kamloops, formerly Kamloops Indian Band, has found no human remains. It appears the $12.1 million have not been used as intended for excavation. Blacklock's reports that the Department of Crown Indigenous Relations now refuses to answer access of information requests about funds paid, claiming this information is, quote, confidential. It's taxpayer money. They should be able to know what happened to this. They should be able to know what happened here, what happened to their money. Canadians are being denied access to information that goes directly to the truth of a matter of profound national importance. Transparency is the foundation of accountability and public trust. Secrecy of this kind does the opposite, undermining confidence in government and weakening its ability to maintain honest, constructive relationships with its citizens. This is happening because everybody knows now that this was the greatest hoax in Canadian history. The greatest hoax. Justin Trudeau standing on that field, pretending that he thought he was standing over the graves of children, right? I'm sure he'd been briefed on the accuracy of ground penetrating radar and told, yeah, this doesn't mean anything. And yeah, there's nothing there, actually. The biggest hoax, certainly the biggest political hoax, because this was used politically by Justin Trudeau. He jumped right on it. Again, knowing full well, none of this was true. Knowing full well, he would have had advisors who told him, yeah, look, this is not real. The reason that the $12.1 million that was given to do a dig, to get to the truth, the reason that has just disappeared and no dig has happened because everybody knows there's nothing there. But this has been incredibly profitable leverage. And that's the awful truth, right? And it's band leaders. This is not all the Indigenous people living in Canada or in Kamloops. No, this is a handful of people that actually control. It was a handful of people that controlled, that ever saw any of this $12.1 million. right? And the obvious fact is that there won't be a dig. If they can stop it from happening, they will stop it because it'll put an end to the grift. I mean, and it's a gruesome, macabre hoax. Really gross, actually, and a disgusting thing to do to the Canadian people. And I blame the media and Justin Trudeau and now Carney, because he still hasn't said anything about it. I blame them the most. They're the ones who are responsible for it, in my mind. Now, of this $12 million, we don't know if they did a preliminary dig. Maybe they did a preliminary one, and it came back negative. No, there's nothing there. And they said, okay, we're just going to shut this down. We need people to think that this is here. And this sounds really cynical, but it is. Look at it. It looks cynical, doesn't it? Why hide? Why hide? Why not be transparent? I mean, if we're talking truth and reconciliation here, well, some truth and some transparency might be in order. It can't be a one-way street. So, I mean, this is not sustainable long term. It's just not. Like, this is gonna have to be resolved. But again, that's why the resistance is there, because it's not going to resolve in the narrative correct way. Feds at GC Indigenous, this is from Holly Doan, are sealing all reports filed by Kamloops BC First Nation that was paid $12.1 million to exhume purported graves of 215 children at an Indian residential school. Quote, confidential information, the department wrote in denying access to information request. The truth is going to have to come out. It's going to have to. And I'll tell you, a lot of people's faith in the government, faith in institutions, is going to be very badly shaken when they find out the real truth. And also, too, when it turns out they find out that they don't own their home anymore. Government gave it away. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. Bruschetta? I love bruschetta. Let's see. Jabber, what are you guys talking about? Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says, I guess the rating for my last ad read says, such a professionally read ad, 10 out of 10. I do believe that's almost the most you can get out of 10. No commie hate, 2 out of 10. I'm sorry. I just have to read it the way that they want me to. I'm sorry. We'll do a commie hate ad later. Maybe I'll try and sneak in a commie free into the next one. I don't know. I'm sure they'd like it. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to skip down a little bit. Let's see. Ottawa James says, most transparent governments in our lifetime. The liberals. Everything is a lie, apparently. Everything is a lie. Izzy says, stop being a far-right bigot. They don't need to verify anything, and you can't talk about it without being a bigot. I know. It's so rough. Let's see. Eventually, reality is going to assert itself. Nobody can stop that. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm not reading that, Izzy. All right, there we go. Sandwich. Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, let's move on. What do we got going on? Let's see. So, from CBC Watcher here, Jamil Giovanni, Conservative MP. I think he's very strong. I think he's very good, actually. And I think he means it. He's not a guy who's going to get bribed by Carney. He's a friend of J.D. Vance. They went to university together, I believe, and they still talk to each other sometimes, and they're friends. They have a fantasy football thing together, right? Jamil Giovanni is a friend of J.D. Vance, offered Carney U.S. trade talk assistance. Well, how do you think that went from Mark Carney, the guy who doesn't seem like he actually wants to get a deal for political reasons, for financial reasons, for himself, possibly? But yeah, don't expect anything common sense or useful or productive to come out of Carney. Let's take a look.
Conservative MP and close friend of U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance says he could help restart trade talks with the United States. Jamil Giovanni is the MP for Bowmanville, Oshawa North in Ontario, and he sat down last week for an exclusive interview with the CBC's Kate McKenna. Here's part of that.
If my party were in power and I could actually reach out to people in Washington and say, okay, can we try to resolve some of this trade dispute or get a deal going? There's a role for me to play. With the Liberal Party in power, there's not an obvious way for me to inject myself into that conversation. Now, I will say I have offered Mark Carney to help, and I really do believe I could help. I would love it if Mark Carney said to me, look, we need a multi-partisan, all hands on deck approach. Please go down to Washington. Here's the strategy and approach we're taking. See what you can do to help. I would love it if he asked me to do that. But out of respect for him as prime minister, I don't want to get involved. And frankly, we saw with the whole Doug Ford commercial debacle, what happens when there's not a good strategy in place that is in the best interest of the country. Mark Carney is getting a new ambassador named. Maybe that means a new strategy. Maybe that means there's a way that I can help. And, you know, my constituents in Bowmanville, Oshawa North would like me to do that. But at the end of the day, the prime minister has to make that decision, not me. So I would love to be able to talk to JD about how we can make things better for our economy. But I don't want to get involved in what Mark Carney's up to, and unless he tells me that's helpful to him.
It's just such an obvious win, right? It's such an obvious win. I mean, Mark Carney could present himself as being bipartisan and, having really being the patriot that he's pretending to be, that the mainstream media pretended and pretends that he is, right? It's such a win. Obviously, it would help with negotiations, clearly, right? Having a direct line to the vice president. Obviously, it shows you that Carney is not trying to get a deal. He doesn't want a deal. That's why you had the recognizing the Palestinian state, right? Just as Trump was about to announce a peace deal. That's why you had that. He obviously does. He wants to keep Trump as the boogeyman for political purposes because he thinks it will help him. I'm not sure that's actually a great strategy for him, but that's what he wants. And it's clear. I mean, he's clearly not. I mean, the whole whatever comment, whatever. It went from being this is the greatest threat in Canadian history to whatever. Who cares? It'll get done when it gets done. Yeah, it's not a serious guy. The guy who we were told knows how to get things done and he knows how the world works. Well, if that's true, well, he's intentionally botching this whole thing and tanking it and further tanking the Canadian economy from where it already was being tanked when he got in. So it shows you there's nothing serious happening here. I mean, well, no, there is something serious, but it's Mark Carney's interests, not the interests of the country. All right. What do we have next? Let's see. What is this here? And again, from CBC Watcher. There's Kate Harrison nails it. That's certainly what they all claimed to want to avoid. And it is what the prime minister ran the election on, was that there would be certainty in the trade relationship. moving forward. Well, he first said there'd be a deal done by like July, right? He's got Jamil Giovanni there with a direct line to JD Vance. He could be using that. That's a really powerful asset right there. No interest. What is going on? Almost seems like Mark Carney doesn't want to get a deal for his own partisan purposes because he thinks it'll help him politically to keep Trump as the boogeyman.
Workers in steel, aluminum, auto, they would qualify for EI. It's just whether it's enough, right? And that's the big question there. But, Kate, when you look at this, first Ambassador Hillman, now Minister LeBlanc, that's after Canada Day, right? This is the outcome at every stage Canada wanted to avoid because they wanted resolution on the sectoral tariffs prior to that whole thing, because you don't know where your economy is going to be no matter what's happening in the U.S.
Well, that's certainly what they claimed to want to avoid. And it is what the Prime Minister ran the election on, was that there would be certainty in the trade relationship moving forward. And now to hear, his top officials say, well, it's going to be many months away and potentially half a year away. Like, we are very, very much departed and divorced from the narrative that he ran on. And so while we might not consider that, to be novel or unexpected, I think it would rightly take a lot of Canadians by surprise that the Prime Minister, who said that he was going to strike out and achieve a new economic and security deal, is content to let that slip. Let's also keep in mind what will happen next year, which is U.S. primaries. So if we are waiting for this renegotiation, that is very unlikely to be ratified on the U.S. side because they're going to be in their own election cycle. That adds to the instability and the uncertainty that Rob is talking about in terms of investment here. So I think we're talking about the economic risk. There's, of course, a political risk as well to the Prime Minister in terms of what he said he would do during the election campaign and the reality that we now have. And lastly, I just have to say, this idea that Donald Trump is going to, find religion and treat Canada with some goodwill and Kuzma is foolhardy. He's been pretty clear about what he expects of Canada. And I don't know how waiting for a Kuzma renegotiation to have him say the very thing that he's been saying already for the past year is going to have Canada emerge from that any more successful.
So can you imagine if Pierre Poilievre was the Prime Minister, had won that last election, and he'd said he's going to have a deal by July, and then that passed to nothing. And not only that, but now, almost at Christmas, not only is there no deal, but the tariffs are worse, considerably worse. Can you imagine the struggle session that Rosemary Barton and David Cochrane would put every conservative they could get anywhere near through? The struggle session they would subject to any conservative that they could get anywhere near to. Can you imagine? I mean, it would be every night leading the news, right? There'd be no mercy. Sure, they let Kate Harrison on there to give her thing, but that's it. It's 1% of their propaganda tsunami, right? It's just endless. If the CBC treated Carney the way that they treat Poilievre, right? And you can just see with the tone too, the way that they treat, even when they're dealing with something like this, it's just a different tone, right? Izzy says, holy shit, how did that appear on CBC? Yeah, they have to have a little bit. Ottawa James says, Kate is the lone conservative on the panel. This is the way that they do it, right? And their Power in Politics one, there is no conservative, by the way. I guess they try and pass Andrew Coyne off, the guy who said, a year ago said Canada's a wealthy country. We can take in far more immigrants than we already have, far more. They try and pass him off as a conservative. Yeah, it's a joke. You will see, like, she's
Workers
like
in steel.
She's like the lone actual conservative. They have a couple of fake conservatives who just say nice things about Carney, right? But that's it. And it's like 1% of the airtime. Let's see. All right, that's that. We shall move on. Let's do all right. So we got a couple things here. From CBC Watcher. Skate Canada is a federally funded nonprofit. Skate Canada says that it will no longer, Skate Canada says that it will no longer be hosting certain events in Alberta over its transgender law. So, yes, Danielle Smith has made it illegal to conduct medical gender experiments on children, to castrate surgically or chemically and mutilate, to castrate whether surgically or medically, or to castrate either surgically or pharmaceutically. Maybe my brain just doesn't want to deal with this shit anymore. Like, it's so disturbing, right? It's like sometimes you have to just stop and go, this is real. Like, there are people that, it's not just people, the federal government is all in for child sex changes. How is that real? How did that become a real thing? You've got these federally funded nonprofits, right, that are mad that Alberta has said, no, you can't castrate and mutilate children in Alberta. You can't conduct medical gender experiments on children in Alberta. And the evidence is piling up, whether it's Sweden or Denmark or the UK or the US, whether it's the WPATH files that show the internal communications and Zoom meetings of these people, of the experts, the authority of authorities, WPATH, showing that they have no idea what they're doing and they're utterly pseudoscientific. And yet, here, federally funded nonprofit says we're not going there unless we can destroy children's lives, unless you will do the abominable, right? Unless you will commit atrocities, we're not going to go there. And the federal government's all for it too. It's crazy. How did we get to this place? You've got Alberta that's sane, right? And then just every institution is completely mad. Even the institutions in Alberta are completely mad. It's basically Danielle Smith standing alone. Well, I guess, Scott Moe in Saskatchewan. I guess there's a guy in the Maritimes too, who's not totally nuts. But how did we get here? It's freaking crazy. Anyway, let's take a look. Julia Wong from CBC News. I wonder if this will be balanced.
We're following breaking news from the world of figure skating. Skate Canada, the governing body for Canadian figure skaters, says it will no longer hold national and international events in Alberta. The move is in response to that province's legislation that bans transgender girls from female sports.
Then they should be immediately defunded. And by the way, the whole point is, you say transgender girls. The whole point is you don't know that. These are children. They can't possibly give informed consent to change their bodies, okay, to prevent themselves from growing into healthy adult bodies, fully developed, healthy adult bodies. Okay, so why are you saying that they're transgender girls? That's the whole point, is you don't know that. You can't say that. Yet this is the framing. This is that little bias, that framing, that drip, drip, drip all the time to normalize it as if this is just accepted. It's just everybody thinks this. No, they don't. In fact, the wokest countries in the world, like Sweden, have gone way back on this stuff and said, actually, we've taken a look at our data and yeah, this is pseudoscience. This isn't real. There's no evidence. There's certainly no evidence that this helps, and there's evidence that it hurts. But there he is, earning that paycheck, transgender girls. The whole fucking point is that they're not. They can't say that children can't give informed consent to be experimented on by monsters.
A policy that was controversially passed using the notwithstanding clause. The CBC's
controversially passed. It's controversial to stop health professionals from doing medical experiments on children. That's what's controversial to the CBC. This is the framing. This is what turns people's brains into mush.
Julia Wong joins me now live from Edmonton. And so, Julia, tell us more about what Skate Canada is saying.
So as you mentioned, Skate Canada says that it will no longer be hosting certain events in this province, saying that they carefully consider a variety of criteria when selecting host cities for their events to take place in. And they say that they reviewed Alberta's Fairness and Safety in Sport Act, with the organization now saying that it's unable to host events in this province while maintaining its national standards for safe and inclusive sport. So this decision, again, only affecting certain events, those national and international events. And the organization is also saying that this doesn't affect Alberta skaters from participating in Skate Canada programming and competitions. But obviously, this is a very big development in a story that has been a very big story in this province when it comes to who can and can't participate in sports in Alberta.
Julia, remind us of that. What is Alberta's Fairness and Safety in Sport Act?
Yeah, so effectively what this law means, and it was only recently passed, but it bans transgender athletes from competing in female amateur sports. And what this has looked like in this province is that at schools, parents have had to sign forms saying that their child is eligible to participate in a female-only sports team, and very specifically confirming that their child was born female at birth. Now, these forms and this law as a whole have been quite controversial here in this province, with a lot of backlash, the official opposition expressing a lot of disappointment in this particular law. What the province...
Again, that's what's controversial, not pseudoscientific medical experiments on children. That's not controversial to the CBC.
Has said is that this is a way to make sports safe, to make sports fair, and to make it accessible. And then very recently, just within the last few weeks, because of all the controversy that not only this law, but the other suite of transgender laws that have been passed in this province, because of all the controversy that has generated, the province invoked the notwithstanding clause to shield it from charter challenges, to protect it from those who were unhappy with it and wanted to take the province to court over it. So that is now protecting the province in this particular case, but obviously it has had ripple effects and will be affecting those participating in sports, obviously affecting where Skate Canada is wanting to host their events. The organization also saying that it will continue to monitor legislative developments in this province, and they will reassess hosting opportunities as circumstances evolve. But again, this is breaking news. This is very much a big development in the world of sports, and also in particular what that has meant in this particular province.
Jeez, I wonder why they don't want males in female sports. Must be because they're bigots or something, I guess, huh? I guess we'll never find out from the CBC, right? My prediction is that in the not too far future, there'll be very few people who will admit to ever, at least people in the public eye, who will admit to having ever supported this stuff. It's too awful. It's too just on its face wrong to survive. It has to be either that or Western civilization is just completely lost. Because if you can't even protect your own children from cultists, from pseudoscientific cultists, I mean, then what good are you for in the first place? All right, let's go to the chat. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, oh no, how will Alberta ever survive without Skate Canada? Let's see. Ottawa James says, way to go, Alberta. Every province will fall like dominoes on this, the way that Sweden did, the way that like Denmark has, the way that the UK has. Obviously, this is happening in the States as well. Every province will fall because it's evil. And it will be, eventually everybody will understand this. And eventually it will become something, it will become unfashionable for the left. And that's when they'll stop. Let's see. Streamer says, my right ankle is hurting pretty good. Been loading wood for the fireplace. Hope a spider didn't find its way in there. Oh, yikes. Princess Baloney got a spider bite on her finger. It swelled up real bad. Real bad. Let's see. Nevada says Trump said he hoped Commie Carney would win. Now you know why. Yes, we've been talking about that for the entire time. The entire time. We don't need to go over it again. Let's see. Izzy says, sounds like we need to skate Alberta. Yeah. Ottawa James says the law makes too much sense for the libtards. 100%. Let's see. All right. What do we got next? So we did this. We did this. Oh, we've got more, though. We've got more on the CBC. Let's see. What's this? Jonathan K. posted this. Ready for some astro gender weighing? Behold, CBC News' latest on astronauts who menstruate. Astronauts who menstruate. This is hilarious, and it's very CBC. In fact, I've got the article here. Let's see. One small step for periods in space. One giant leap for research in long-term space missions. $1.5 billion in funding. $1.5 billion. Thank God, huh? Thank God. New research is showing that menstrual cups may be a new option for astronauts who menstruate. So I guess those men and women astronauts who menstruate, I guess this is part of the guidelines now, right? You have to pretend to not know reality. Let's see. Before NASA astronaut Sally Ride's historic launch aboard the space shuttle in 1983 as the first American woman in space. Wait a second. First American woman in space. Oh, so they got it there. So she's a woman in space. Let's see. She was asked a question. Would 100 tampons be the right number for her week-long mission? No, she said, that would not be the right number. Thank God for the CBC. Thank God for the CBC. So let's see. Someone who menstruates typically does so, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we all know that. Let's see. People can use tampons. Menstrual pads or menstrual cups. People can. Which people are those? I mean, the thing is that they had it up here, right? They said, I mean, this is a big clue. Sally Ride's historic launch aboard the space shuttle in 1983 as the first American woman in space. It's almost like I wonder, is there a connection between women and tampons and menstrual cycles? Could there be? I don't know. I'm confused by this article from the CBC. Let's see, what else do we have? Well, here's a quote. So Katerina Miranda, science communicator and co-author of the new study. So she doesn't seem to be as confused as the CBC. She said, quote, we want to give different options to women. To women. Because right now astronauts are, let's say, induced to take menstrual suppression. So different options to women. So this Katerina doesn't seem to be very confused. She knows what's going on. And the funny thing about this article is like, okay, so you've given the game away, the thing that everybody knows. You're talking about women here, yet they still insist on using this ridiculous language. People can use tampons. What are they doing to our beautiful, beautiful language? It's awful. A new study published in the Nature journal NPJ Women's Health. So let's take a look at that's what they're getting this from. So I guess maybe they're getting this non-gendered language from this article, maybe. Let's see. No, one giant leap for womankind. So this article on NPJ Women's Health, they're not confused about who uses tampons. Not confused at all. Let's see. In 1963, the first woman ventured into space. So far, 103 female astronauts have flown into space. So they seem to be on top of this. You know, who uses tampons, who menstruates. They seem to be right on top of it. No problem. So why does the CBC feel the need to throw this, just shoehorn this language in? It's just very silly, isn't it? It shows even they're kind of confused. They don't really know what they're doing. People can use tampons. Someone who menstruates. All right. Anyway, $1.4 billion a year for that. For that. All right. Let us move on. Let's go back to the chat for a second. Then we're going to do some memes. We're going to do some memes, people. Anybody watching on YouTube right now, I have to keep reminding you because the algorithm is not helping me. The new channel is Radio Baloney News. It's my second channel. It's a featured channel on the homepage for this channel. That's where all world news, U.S. news, meme reviews, all that kind of stuff is going to be. Please go there, subscribe. It makes purple-head gremlins cry when you do. It's really super, super worth it. All right. Radio Streamer says 100 tampons. LOL. Can't be too careful. Can't be too careful. Yes, there you go. Izzy says, oh my God, WTF. Do they need to study that takes over 1 million? It's just silly. It's just a silly world. Silly, silly world. Radio Streamer says, just remember at one point in time, there was a lizard on a treadmill that was government-funded research. Radio Streamer says, sorry, it was a shrimp, much better. How does that work out with a shrimp? I don't know. Let's go to the memes. Let's go to the memes. Let's do the memes. Let's see. Let's make sure they're updated. All right. So declaration of memes, true story. So what is this? Let's see. There's a fish, a hook there. Fishes are so dumb. Oh my God, free lunch. Well, it's a hammer and sickle. Oh my God, free lunch, everybody. Nothing can go wrong. This all makes perfect sense. Everything free forever. I can be a revolutionary poet. No problem. I'm sure the regime is going to be fine with that. I'm sure Stalin will be fine with that. Let's see. Sassy Gal posted this. Our future here in Canada. Let's see. A classic Franklin story. Franklin posts a spicy meme, and there's the RCMP arresting him, taking him to prison. Yes, they're passing legislation right now to make this a reality. We've got C9, there's C8, there's the focus of liberal legislation since Carney won the election has been on censorship, controlling speech. On spying on Canadians, right? I'm sure Bill C-63 is going to be coming down the pike. That's the one that has pre-crime, so you can be punished for things you haven't done. And also, a far leftist kangaroo court star chambers for people who say things that offend just some random anonymous person on the internet. That's also going to be coming. Oh, I forgot, life in prison for online hate, whatever that is. It's not very well defined, by the way, in the bill. It's very broadly defined. This was the bill. This was the Trudeau bill that this is the Trudeau bill that this is the Trudeau bill that once Parliament was prorogued by Trudeau, all legislation stops. So it stops anything that they want to put through, any bill, they have to reintroduce it. They have to start over again, right? Carney's statements make it very clear that he wants to resurrect that bill. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a reality. I'm sure Carney looks at the UK and their 12,000 arrests a year for saying naughty things on the internet, for saying things that Keir Starmer doesn't like or that Mark Carney wouldn't like either. I'm sure he looks at that and drools. And yes, he's working right now. It seems to be the main thrust of their legislation is censorship, is legislation to oppress Canadians, to prevent them from accurately describing reality. So, yeah, Franklin should be very happy he doesn't live in Canada. Let's see. What's this? Liberals and then Muslims. Liberals and Muslims. Well, let's see. I mean, if there's a little accident here, she'll be sure to blame the far right. I'm sure. What's this? The Daily Gondor. Let's see. So this is styled after The Guardian, the very, very left-wing newspaper in the UK. The Daily Gondor. Sorry, elves. This is what democracy looks like. A new wave of orcs are bravely tackling social oppression and isolation. A new wave of orcs are bravely attacking social oppression and the isolation they experience from men and elves alike. And it's beautiful. Smash orcophobia. A few torched villages is a small price to pay for decades of bigotry. Look at those. Look at those noble orcs there. See, it's funny because this is what's happening in the West, and everybody knows it. Let's see. Declaration of memes. With self-driving cars around the corner, am I the only one that thinks this is going to happen? So, what's this? With the rise of self-driving vehicles, it's only a matter of time until there's a country song where the guy's truck leaves him. I want to hear that song. I want to hear that song. Somebody make that song. Who's a country guy to make that? Garth Brooks, is he still around? Make that song. What's this? Parody Mark Carney. Arrest that boy. Let's see. Mark Carney is a Chinese asset. Mark Carney is a Chinese asset. Mark Carney is a Chinese asset. Bart is writing it down. Mark Carney is a Chinese asset. Is he? Is he a Chinese asset? Well, he has a lot of connections with China. I mean, people are talking. People are talking about that $250 million loan he secured for Brookfield from a state bank in China, like 4 months before he became prime minister. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. Like Michael Ma crossing from the conservatives to the liberals after, when the election was like 8 months ago. And he was excoriating Carney publicly like 3 days ago. So I don't know. Maybe I think there's a lot of China. Well, let's see. Well, there is that thing about the Chinese interference in like every in the last like 4 Canadian elections. There is that, and there is that China actually interfered in not only the election for Carney's benefit, but also the Liberal leadership competition. Also, the Liberal leadership race to Mark Carney's benefit. So I don't know. Mark Carney is a Chinese asset. Yeah, he's a Chinese asset. Yeah, I think so. What's this? Let's see. Who's this? Crypto Tiger posted this. I visited your birthplace last night. By which I mean, I banged your mom. That's a great burn right there. Great burn. What's this here? I dare you post the most fucked up meme you got. Well, that's a pretty good one. I think it works. All right. Let's keep going. Let's see. What's this? Who posted this? Russell memes. All right. I see retarded governors. They're everywhere. They don't even know they're retarded. They don't even know they're retarded. Tim Walsh? Tim Walsh, anyone? Tim Walsh? Anybody say Tim Walsh? Pog Diggity. Let's see. What about crusades? You've already had plenty of those. We had 8, yes, but what about the 9th crusade? What about 9th crusade? Yeah. Yeah, just like second breakfast. Yeah. Problem is, you don't really need to go anywhere to get to the problem. The problem's already in the Shire, Mary, I'm afraid. It's already in the Shire. You don't need to go on a crusade. Let's see. How Megan North? All right. Let's see. How down are you to drink some beers? Me? Very down. Very down to drink some beers. That used to be me. Not these days. I used to be very down to drink some beers as well. What's going on here? Let's see. Fireman, there's a fire coming out of there. Let's see. He's saying no, absolutely not. Says, I don't need a man. Oh, well then no problem. Didn't need a man. So, hey, you know, you wouldn't want to be a misogynist, right? I'm sure these two guys are just good feminists. So good for them. Good for them. Good for respecting her boundaries. Let's see. What's this? Florida. What? Hold on. What just happened? What's this? Florida. Let's see. Feeding the dolphins there. It means don't feed the fish, and you know it. It says don't jack off on the dolphins. What? Let's see. Is that don't feed the fish or don't jack off on the dolphins? It is Miami. I'm going with the latter. Do we have anything else? Anything else? I guess that's it. That's all the memes. What are you guys saying? Izzy says, that is such poor taste. I love it. Well, it did look like that, didn't it? I mean, let's see. All right, let's just move on to the next thing. So here is JD Vance. So Colin Rugg posted this clip of JD Vance, and he's firing back at a reporter here. So the media, the mainstream media, exists to manipulate, not inform. They exist to create framing, to frame their ideological and political enemies in a negative light. That's their purpose. They make it obvious. It's extremely transparent. They're not trying to inform you. They're trying to manipulate you. Here is how you deal with it.
Vice President Jacob Bogage from the Washington Post. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you.
Unfortunately, I have to ask a bit of an off-topic question from affordability because news events do intervene, and that is the interviews that White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles gave to Vanity Fair, in which she's quoted as referring to you as, excuse me, and again, not my words, sir, but a conspiracy theorist of a decade, and described your transformation from someone who once opposed President Trump to now his vice president as an act of political expediency. And I'd like to give you the chance to respond to that, sir.
Well, first of all, if Susie, I'll trust what you said. I haven't looked at the article. I of course have heard about it, but conspiracy theorist. Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. Yeah. And by the way, Susie and I have joked in private and in public about that for a long time. For example, I believed in the crazy conspiracy theory back in 2020 that it was stupid to mask 3-year-olds at the height of the COVID pandemic, that we should actually let them develop some language skills. You know, I believed in this crazy conspiracy theory that the media and the government were covering up the fact that Joe Biden was clearly unable to do the job. And I believed in the conspiracy theory that Joe Biden was trying to throw his political opponents in jail rather than win an argument against his political opponents. So, at least on some of these conspiracy theories, it turns out that a conspiracy theory is just something that was true 6 months before the media admitted it. And that's my understanding. Now, look, I do want to say something about Susie, though, because, again, having not read this article, Susie is a person I've come to know very, very well. And, you know, a lot of you probably ask yourself, what is it like behind the scenes? What's going on actually behind the scenes of the Trump administration? And I'll tell you, the president is exactly in private who he is in public. Like, I'll tell you a little story. Maybe a week or so ago, I walk into the Oval Office and Marco and I are sitting there talking with the president about something. He says, stop. And he looks at our shoes and says, you guys have terrible shoes. So he goes and gets a shoe catalog. Now remember, this is the Christmas season, so the president's got some holiday cheer. He goes and gets a shoe catalog and gets his favorite shoes and orders like 4 pairs of shoes for me and 4 pairs of shoes for Marco, because he's like, we need our vice president or secretary of state to look their very best. And, then we went back to talking about whatever major, international issue we were talking about. Again, he is exactly in private who he is in public. That's not true of most people in Washington, D.C. It's not. And I've seen so many people who will say one thing to the president's face, Democrats and Republicans, and then will do the exact opposite behind the scenes. You know why I really, you know what they are, and you know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you wanted a staffer. Because as much as I love Susie, the American people didn't elect any staffer. They elected the president of the United States. And what you want... And what you want in a staffer is a person who understands they are there to effectuate the will of the American people, and they're there to follow the orders of the duly elected commander-in-chief of the United States. And Susie Wiles, we have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the president of the United States, and that makes her the best White House chief of staff that I think the president could ask for.
He's really good, isn't he? He is really good. I think he's going to be very, very strong in 28. And of course, the media is going to try and frame. We see it here, right? The conspiracy, and I guess he's having an affair with a couch, and I think all of that stuff is going to fall on pretty deaf ears. And he's just very good. He's very different from Trump, very different style from Trump, and I think it's going to go over very well in 2028 when Trump is gone. When he's not going to be able to run again. What else was I going to say? And as for conspiracies, I think that the word conspiracy was targeted as a psyop to discredit anybody who was inconveniently accurately describing reality or inconveniently asking salient questions. Clearly, that's the case. I mean, conspiracies exist. There's a reason why there's a word conspiracy, right? The word was created to describe something that's actually happened, something real. Nobody doubts that there are criminal conspiracies, obviously, right? Conspiracies are real. There are political conspiracies. It's real. Companies conspire with each other, right? To keep prices up, for instance. Right? This is why there's antitrust lawsuits and stuff. Conspiracies are real. That's why the word conspiracy exists. And it's just been used as a psyop to just easily discredit anybody who's getting too close to the truth. Anybody who's accurately describing reality or asking inconvenient questions. Just call them a conspiracy theorist, as if that was bad, right? All conspiracies are, people with tinfoil on their heads. No, and nobody thought that before the psyop. All right. And again, that's a conspiracy. The idea that there's a psyop, that's a conspiracy theory too. And it's just obvious. It's just transparently true. It's used as a weapon. It's misused as a weapon, clearly, obviously, and intentionally. I'm not interested in hearing about it from the people who told us that ivermectin was horse paste. Right? Are you interested in hearing about it from the people who told you that ivermectin was horse paste? Yeah, I'm not. What was this here? How about this one? Here's JD Vance again. Stop playing defense. The left's coming for you anyway. This is posted by Mario Nafal. Yeah, you have to be aggressive. Trump, sometimes it gets uncomfortable with his level of aggression, right? But there's not really any other option. because the left is going to give you no quarter. It's by any means necessary. They will shamelessly lie and smear with a smile on their face. They'll never feel bad about it. They'll never stop. They'll never show any kind of conscience whatsoever. So you have to be aggressive. You have to realize, right? They have no rules. They have no principles. They don't care.
So here's something that I want conservatives. I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway of the last 40 years. And in particular, if you look at what we're doing, if Joe Biden wanted to deploy the national,
and that doesn't mean do what they do in terms of wrongfully accuse people, try and wrongfully imprison people and ruin their lives. No, it just means that when you see them committing a crime, you hold them accountable, right? If Ilhan Omar has committed immigration fraud. Well, if the law says that she should be removed, well, that's just the rules, right? That's actually principled, right? If she actually deserves that, right? If that's the law, well, then that's a principled move. So it doesn't mean, be totally unprincipled as they are. It means hold them to your own rules is all that it means. And don't expect any quarter from them whatsoever. There's no point ever apologizing for anything, right? They're not going to accept it. They just see it as a sign of weakness. They hate you. They're going to attack you forever. And if something happens to you, if the worst happens to you, they will cheer and party about it. So fuck them, right? And that's every Western country. All right. So I didn't know this still existed. All right. Defiant Elves posted this. She's saying that her grandpa was watching a sexist movie last night and she asked him to turn it off because it was sexist. And she wanted him to turn it off so she could tell him about how and why it was sexist. I didn't know this was still happening. I thought this had passed by, that this wasn't real anymore. Is this old, maybe? I don't know. I guess maybe it's still happening. They always look like this, by the way. Is this real? Is this a skit? It seems like it's real. I guess we'll just have to take a look. It just seems too absurd. It just seems too absurd to be real, obviously. But we'll watch it and make sure you stick around for the end because I think you're going to like it.
My grandpa was watching a sexist movie last night, and I asked him to turn it off so that I could talk to him about how and why it was sexist and why I didn't want him to watch it in front of me. He told me that I shouldn't be upset about other people's actions. Okay, so you know what? I backed his car out of the garage, and I'm not going to put it back in. That's my action. I'm going to leave it out there, and I'm going to see if it bothers him. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to play Hot Girl Bummer, and I'm going to play that as loud as I want, whenever I want, at whatever time of day I want. Does that affect you? Oh, and now I can't live here, so that's fun. My grandpa.
I told you to hang around till the end, and now I can't live here, so that's fun. Well, maybe you should have been a little bit more fun. Maybe you should have. Maybe you should have just let Grandpa watch whatever movie he wanted to. At the end there, the reveal, now I can't live here anymore. So she's living at his house. I'm going to go ahead and guess for free, right? He's not enjoying it very much, but he's putting up with it because even though obviously, look, clearly this would not be an enjoyable person to be around. This person is a bummer. This is a feminist bummer, right? And look, I've probably eaten him out of house and home as well. Probably eating him out of house and home as well. Obviously, there's a smell involved, I'm sure. And yet she's complaining. She's so narcissistic and so entitled, as a leftist is, as a feminist, as they are, as they're trained to be. They're trained to be that way by, I don't know, their professors and TikTok, whatever. And it didn't occur to her that, geez, maybe might want to give Grandpa a break. I mean, he's kind of doing me a solid here. Nope. No, but it's probably the patriarchy's fault that she has to live with her grandpa. She has to appeal to the kindness of her grandpa. That's probably why. And then she can't even appeal to his kindness. She has to be a feminist witch. A fat one, too. So, and by the way, we don't use this button enough, but we have to do it right here. Yep. He's putting up with that? Now she's got to find another place to live. And everything is in its proper place in the world. What are people saying under here? What movie? It doesn't matter. It was probably like a movie from like the 50s, right? Maybe it was Dirty Harry or something. Why is she still living at Grandpa's house? Why was she living at Grandpa's house? Hope he followed through with that, by the way. Let's see. Shout out to Gramps, 100%. There's Clint Eastwood. Is that Gramps? Is that Gramps? She wouldn't last 5 minutes at Clint Eastwood's house. She'd be out of the will, out of the house, everything immediately. No. There she is again. Where is that picture from? I guess that's also at Grandpa's house. Oh, dear. Anyway, I thought you guys would like that. Let's get this off the screen. Let's see. Let's see. I had somebody go in the comments to one of these live streams, and some lady talking about, oh, it's disgusting, the obsession with boobs. It's like, it's there to keep you away. It's like a warning, right? It's like a warning to any people that are going to come on here and just be awful and annoying. It's like, you're not going to like this, so just fuck off. Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says, I'm a conspiracy realist. A conspiracy realist. It turns out so many of them are true. Let's see. Let's see. Izzy says, I need some nuanced conspiracy theories, though. They keep getting proven true. Well, you just wait 6 months, right? Trudeau Survivor asks, what is Hot Girl Bummer? Is it supposed to be Hot Girl Summer? I don't know. I'm sure it's perfectly awful. Radio Streamer says, I mean, she is a bummer. She is. But not hot. No. Is it the song Trudeau Survivor asks? I don't know. So I thought it was the song. Izzy says, Richie's not wrong. She looks like she has smells. I bet you she does. Radio Streamer says, I bet the movie was Miracle on 34th Street. Well, these are the same people who canceled Baby It's Cold Outside because they thought that was super sexist. All right. Trudeau Survivor says, libtard repellent. All right. Now what are we doing? We did JD Vance. We did Woke Mind. Anything else on Woke Mind Virus? No, nothing there. We already covered all that. Here's in Montreal. Ryan Garrettson posted this. Says, this is the entrance to the Christmas market in Montreal. This isn't protesting. This is purposeful harassment towards the people trying to enjoy the market. He's yelling that Jesus was Palestinian. He says, our governments have ruined our country. Just go to Palestine. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere that people want to hear this. Why are you in Canada? If you dislike everything about Canada, then fuck off.
The land of Jesus, where Jesus was born, has been under attack by the Zionist entity. And absolutely.
Piss off back there then. Go there. Why are you here? I preferred Canada. I can't tell you how much more I preferred Canada before Palestine was here. Go back. Fuck off back to there. If you love it so much, go there. Why are you here? By the way, the war's over, by the way. You can stop now. Or maybe it wasn't about that. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe the fact that you guys were all out celebrating while the bodies were still warm a couple of years ago. Maybe that was a clue. Maybe that was a clue to something. Why should we have to put up with this? These are people who do not respect our country and our culture. Put them on a plane and send them back. Fuck off back to Palestine. Go away. We don't want you. Who wants this here? Who wants to go to a Christmas market and listen to these terrorist supporters? These are Canadian values, Mark Carney told us. Right? Well, he didn't ask me. He didn't ask anybody else. He just told us that he just decreed that these are Canadian values, he told us. Why do we need this? Why do we need this? Canada was way better before Palestine was in Canada. And the thing is, it's not really, is it? So they can go there. They can fuck off there right away. Nobody's going to complain. Nobody's going to say a word. People will breathe a sigh of relief. Oh, we can just enjoy our Christmas market again? By the way, why did they bring those guys here in the first place? That was a bad move. What are people saying underneath? Oh, good Lord. What's this? Rational Post says, oddly, there's no videos like this being recorded in the Christmas markets in Poland because they said, no, you can't come in because we know what you're going to do. Clearly, they haven't stepped up and taken in infinity migrants from sand countries. Oh, strange, isn't it? Strange, isn't it? That's our strength, by the way. It's our strength. Water hoses would be really icy right about now. Let's see. Canada. Islam is a political system with a mission from Allah to govern all the world under one Islamic caliphate. Well, they won't shut up about it, will they? Maybe we should start believing them. Of course, it's Montreal. Sigh. Yeah. Why did we need this? Let's see. Ryan Garrettson. So the RCMP put out a tweet asking people across the country to tell them if they see any activity that may target Jewish people or anything suspicious, and that we should please report it to them immediately. Let's see. We did for 2 years. Remember this one? This was a nice one.
Israel, burn, burn! Israel, burn, burn! Palestinians will return!
She doesn't sound deranged at all while she says Israel, burn, burn, while she shrieks it.
Israel is a terrorist state!
Do not wonder how revolution can be done. We must do it.
Do not wonder how revolution can be done. We must do it. Geez, I wonder if she's talking about Canada there.
Death to Canada.
Well, she just said death to Canada, so I think that clears it up. She wants a revolution in Canada. What kind? They're all Marxists. They want a communist revolution in Canada. So they are revolutionary communists. Huh.
Death to the United States and death to Israel.
Thanks, Trudeau. Thanks, Cardi, who keeps bringing them in. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. How many tax dollars went into this, into death to Canada? And we're going to have a revolution, a communist revolution. How many tax dollars paid for that? Let's see. So, yeah, RCMP, we've been telling you about this for years. Years. You weren't really very interested in this. Oh, sorry, I forgot. They're only interested in the mysterious far right, for that elusive far right that the CBC keeps telling us about. It's hiding everywhere. The far right's under your bed. The far right stole your car keys. That's why you can't find them. They're everywhere. Except nobody's actually seen them. We've seen these people. We've seen lots of them. Not on the CBC. From independent journalists, we see it. CBC doesn't like to show this. It's a counter narrative to show people what's actually happening in their own country. Because, it might be interesting. People might be interested to know if these people, these Palestinian protesters, are actually more just communist revolutionaries screaming, death to Canada, death to Israel, death to the United States. I think that would be of public interest. I wonder why they don't show that. I wonder why the RCMP doesn't talk about this. Literally calling for revolution. This country is a joke. It's a joke. Yeah, Toronto police just put out a statement following the Sydney attack. If you see anything suspicious, please report it immediately. How about those guys? Oh, nobody reported it. We have no idea. No idea. Huh. All right. This country is a joke. All right. Let's see. What's going on here? So, from Ryan Garrettson here. So, Michael Ma betrayed the people who voted for him a mere 8 months ago to cross the aisle to the Liberals. So, and this, 3 days ago, he was excoriating the Liberals and saying how much he hated all of their policies and how terrible they were. And now he loves their policies and everything's great. He had an epiphany. He likes the country being ruined now, right? And that's the only reason why. No bribery. Nothing was offered to him, obviously. There was no contact with the CCP. Didn't get any instructions from them, obviously. Nothing like that. It was just, you know what it was? I know because the CBC and CTV told me. It's because Pierre Poilievre's mean. That's why he left. That's why he went to the party that he had just been savaging. That he had just been savaging publicly for their policies, hurting Canadians. That's why. It's because Pierre's mean. It's all Pierre's fault. He's mean. He's a bad leader. That's why. I don't know. Are you sure, CBC? Are you sure you don't want to look into any kind of corruption stuff, bribery, anything like that? What was he offered? Are you not the slightest bit curious about that? No? Are you sure you're not? Well, I'll tell you what. His constituents, the people who voted for him a mere 8 months ago, are a little more interested in it than the CBC, than the national broadcaster that's supposed to represent all Canadians. They're not happy about it. These people voted for conservative policies, not liberal policies. They certainly didn't vote for a liberal majority, which is one more floor crosser away now. That was David Menzies there from Rebel News. Stop the CCP's hostile influence in Canada. Stop the CCP's hostile influence in Canada. They know what's going on. This must be the far right. He must be far right, that guy, huh? If you ask the CBC, they'll tell you. All a bunch of far right, probably Nazis, all of them Nazis. The only explanation for them being angry that the guy who they voted for to pursue policies that they wanted betrayed them and went to the party that has the opposite policies that they don't want. That's kind of the whole point of voting in a democracy and stuff, right? Not in Canada, apparently. Yeah. So but this is good. It's good that they're doing this. They've been doing this. They've been doing this every day, and they're going to continue. Where is the Foreign Influence Transparency Registry, Mark Carney? Well, Mark Carney likes the interference because it benefits liberals and him every single time. So he likes it. So he doesn't have any problem with it whatsoever. But this is good. This puts the pressure on. They're demanding that he resign so there can be a by-election. And so their voice can be heard. Their democratic voice, their right to be heard democratically can be heard. So their will be realized. Their will is they voted for conservative policies, not liberal policies. It's a betrayal. It's dirty as hell. It's gross. And again, this is not a guy who'd been in the, an MP for, 10 years or something. And he'd, plausibly had some sort of, evolution, right? Even then, you think it's pretty slimy, but you could see that. I mean, that does happen with people. It happened with me. My politics changed, right? This is a guy who was elected 8 months ago, right? And, a few weeks ago, he was tearing apart the Liberal Party for their policies in Parliament. It's not believable that he had this sudden epiphany and decided he actually loves the policies that hurt Canadians. Obviously, he never cared in the first place, right? Everything he's said has always been a lie, right? I would not be at all surprised if he is a CCP plant. And it does also say Conservative Party has to be way more careful. This guy was appointed too. He was appointed to run. They hold some blame for this. They need to do more research on this guy. And there's a lot of stuff coming out now that shows this guy's been knee deep with the Chinese Communist Party for a long time. And with all of the interference we know that's been proven, I mean, come on, you got to do better. But yeah, he should resign, and then there can be a new election. It's just gross. Canada's just gross. I mean, it's just a slow motion train wreck. Here's more people. Here we are again.
Kilometers away from Canada's favorite Chinese police station, home of Michael Ma. All right, we're in Markham, Unionville, just a few kilometers away from Canada's favorite Chinese police station, home of Michael Ma. So here we have the Rebel News truck and Dave Menzies. So Michael Ma is the MP who switched sides. Now, this is a result of not letting the Canadian people decide democracy because he was just appointed the head of this union, just given the riding. Maybe there was some shady dealings going on. Maybe there wasn't. So we have people outside in the snow. They're protesting here in Markham, Unionville. They felt like they voted Conservative, but now we might get a Liberal majority government, not off votes, but off of corruption from Michael Ma, who is no longer Conservative. People are saying their votes are not for sale. That is fake news. This is Canada. Of course, your votes are for sale. They say Michael Ma is not respecting his voters. Now, in defense of Michael Ma, there is nothing more Canadian than a politician having deep, deep contempt for his own voting base. So point to Michael Ma there. Great job by the Conservative Leadership Committee and insiders for appointing him head of this riding. And great job, Mark Carney, for buying him at a higher bidding. So
there's blame to go all around. I mean, I'm not blaming the Conservatives for Michael Ma's and Carney's treachery, but they have to be more careful with these guys, right? Who they let run. I mean, it's crazy at this point. And he talked about everybody's favorite Chinese police station. Yeah, there is, under the Liberals, the Chinese government runs secret, unofficial police stations, which they use to intimidate and coerce the Chinese diaspora in Canada and in other countries as well. That's Canada. That's Canada in a nutshell. And Liberals, well, they benefit, so no problem. That's how corrupt the Liberals are. And we've known it. It's with Trudeau, it was a scandal, a new scandal every week. Let's see. Yeah, his assistant, Michael Ma's assistants are all quitting. 2 assistants have quit because they're disgusted by this treachery. And that's what it is. It's treachery. Let's see. Hold on. All right, let's move on. Let's go back to the chat for a second, and then we'll move on. Let's see. Radio Streamer says it's standing behind they them energy. They them energy. Now that you mentioned they them energy, what is it Tuesday tonight? Is it the day that we agreed we could do they them energy? Because I tell you what, I'm feeling tired. My coffee's run out. And we still got a bunch more to do, and I don't got that much energy. So what am I supposed to do? Let's see. I mean, I had a big thing of coffee, I had espresso. I smoked some crack. I hit that blue meth from Breaking Bad. I chewed on 7 polar bear adrenal glands. Still nothing. I don't know what I can do. I don't know what I could do to give myself and you guys the kind of energy required on this late stream, on this later than usual stream too.
They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy.
And Teapot. They, them, energy. It does it every single time. I'm back. I got that. I got that fire. I got that they, them energy. The motor's roaring now, folks. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight the dingbats and the loonies. I got that they, them energy. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Rosie says, I think we should all wear clothing that says shush and assimilate or repatriate. Yeah. This mass immigration, I'm not even going to call it an experiment. It's not an experiment. It was done with a plan, right? It was a strategy. It needs some cold, hard reality needs to assert itself here. Let's see. Let's see. All right, I got to skip to the end here because we got way too much chat. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, all caps, I am so awake. Bags head on desk, runs through wall. And Teapot. Only they, them energy has that effect. Only they, them energy. I'm awake now. Nevada says, Rosa says, I'm back on. Let's see. Izzy says, have to say it doesn't quite do it for me anymore. You've gotten used to it. That's the problem. I need to get some even more powerful they, them energy. All right. Okay. Look, what are we doing? I'm getting tired now. We started late. We're 2.5 hours into this bad boy. What's going on in the UK? Let's see. So meanwhile in London, from a concerned citizen. So he's heard from the London mayor, Sadiq Khan, and he's trying to put a stop to the vigil. So they're trying to have a vigil in London for the victims at the Bondi Beach massacre. And the Muslim mayor of London, apparently, Sadiq Khan, is apparently trying to put a stop to it. Huh. That's interesting. Let's take a look. Wonder why he'd want to do that.
So, to mark the tragedy that happened in Bondi. Tell us more.
Well, Martin, yeah, we've moved to outside Parliament here in Westminster, where this vigil is taking place this evening. But some breaking news to bring you now, because I'm joined by Gideon Folter, the Chief Executive of Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, and one of the organisers here who's just told me he's heard from the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, telling him they're trying to put a stop to this vigil. What have they said to you?
Yeah, we've had
slightly rocky start. We just had people walking past us shouting Free Palestine at us. But the thing that's astonished me most is that officials from the Greater London Authority have turned up with clipboards telling us that we are not allowed to set up on Parliament Square at all, not even at the foot of Sir Winston Churchill's statue, which is what we had planned to do. Instead, it looks like the Met Police are being forced to close a road so that we can be moved off the square into the road for pretty obvious reasons, apart from just not blocking London traffic.
Unbelievable. And shows you the state of things in the West, right? In the UK. Trying to have a vigil for innocent people slaughtered. It was a family event. And people are screaming Free Palestine. It shows you it was never about a ceasefire or any of that kind of stuff, because they're still at it. They don't care about that. Right? What does it say about your views, your opinions, when they're trying to have a vigil for people that were slaughtered and people are screaming Free Palestine at them? What's in that person's head? Do they approve? Do the global intifada people approve? Do the people that were out celebrating while the bodies were still warm on October 7th a couple of years ago? Do they approve? Do those people approve of what happened? Like, you have to start asking these questions, right? Like, maybe these aren't nice people. Maybe this isn't about empathy and compassion. Maybe it's about the thing that it's obviously about, the people screaming genocidal slogans. Maybe it's obviously about that. Maybe it's obviously about what these people actually want and believe, and they've been screaming it at us for 2 years. Maybe it's about what they actually say if you're willing to listen to them. Again, the whole celebrating in the streets while the bodies were still warm, that was kind of a clue what all this was about. It's all madness. It's all madness. And of course, the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, doesn't want them to have the vigil for some reason. Maybe it sends the wrong message. You know, the thing that everybody can see. Maybe it highlights the thing that everybody already knows. There's a problem, and everybody knows what the problem is. What else have we got here? Let's see. BBC. Ministers finalizing definition of anti-Muslim hatred. Well, it's going to be so broad that it just means any criticism. Right? So like when something like the massacre at Bondi Beach happens, just talking about it will be anti-Muslim hatred. Is there another kind of hatred? Is there another kind? Is there another kind other than anti-Muslim hatred? Is there another kind of hatred? Like, what if you just took the anti off of that? Would that be a kind of hatred? Like the kind of hatred that drives you to blow up teenage girls at an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester, or murder families at in a beach in Australia? That's what behead people. Right? Is there another kind of hatred? I don't know. And again, I'm not sure that anti-Muslim hatred is really hatred. I'm not sure that they're going to be categorizing things as hatred that are really hatred. I think it's going to be people just stating the obvious, or even talking about events. Let's just say events. Let's see. So Basil the Great here says, this is it. It's finally here. It won't be called Islamophobia. It's now anti-Muslim hatred. Well, the problem is that Islamophobia doesn't work anymore, because the whole phobia part means irrational, like irrational fear. So that's kind of done now. It doesn't really work anymore because they're just the data's in. So on the whole irrational fear thing doesn't really work anymore. So they got to come up with something else, something more dystopian and draconian. Yeah. It's just awful. And these are from people who are betraying their own countries. These laws are coming from people who want to burn down the West. Bad people. So here's the mayor of London who doesn't want there to be a vigil for the people who were massacred in Australia.
Things President Trump has said and done lead me to believe he's a president who is racist, who is misogynistic, and who is Islamophobic. And I'd go further. I think he's somebody who is anti-Muslim as well. My concern about when President Trump says some of the things he does is he normalizes and brings to the mainstream views that I think are unacceptable. I'm always willing to debate and have a discourse and have discourse with anybody about almost any issue. But there is a direct link between language and how sometimes people can become radicalized. You can call it groomed, and so forth. And we've seen in...
I wonder if reality can radicalize people. I wonder if being lied to by your leaders over and over and over again about obvious truths, at just basic reality that everybody could see with their own eyes, hear with their own ears, I wonder if that might radicalize people. I wonder if he thinks that just reality is radical, right? This is coming from the man who won't let a vigil happen for the victims of a Islamic terror attack. So his words mean nothing, obviously. All right. We're at the last tab of the evening. So this was posted by Ryan Garrettson. So here's Konstantin Kisin. So he's touching here on this issue of, just being able to accurately describe reality in light of certain events that just keep happening over and over again. Let's take a look.
Have you ever wondered why in the wake of every Islamist terrorist attack, our media and politicians bend over backwards to make the extraordinary claim that Islamism has nothing to do with Islam? The answer is a mixture of things, of course, but the central reason is easy to understand if you think about it logically. To avoid offending morons, let's not talk about people and talk about apples instead. As you know, there are red apples, green apples, and yellow apples. Let's imagine for a second that a small percentage of green apples are poisonous and can injure and kill people. It's difficult to distinguish the toxic green apples from the other green apples, which are perfectly peaceful, law-abiding, and so forth. Now imagine that you're the public health authority whose job it is to protect the public. If your concern is solving the problem of the small minority of toxic green apples, you would immediately do a number of things. You might devote significant resources to identifying the toxic green apples and removing them from the supermarket shelves. You might commission thorough research into how and where the toxic green apples are grown. You might crack down very, very hard on anyone who knowingly participates in growing or distributing such apples. You might even say that while you are dealing with the problem of deaths caused by toxic green apples, bringing more green apples into the country is liable to worsen the public health crisis until suitable measures are identified which allow you to separate the bad green apples from the good ones. This is how you would act if your primary concern was the safety of the public. But what if you, as the public health authority, had spent the preceding decades claiming that all apples are the same? That to suggest that a small minority of green apples are potentially toxic is fear-mongering and greenophobic. What if you'd been openly encouraging unfiltered importation of green apples and actively resisted calls to thoroughly check whether such apples are in fact digestible for your citizens? What if your mantra for the last 20 years had been that anyone who believes there may be significant variations between the toxicity of different types of apples is a bigot who must be suppressed for fear of emboldening the far right? If you were in fact responsible for the fact that people were now being killed on the streets of your country by the small minority of toxic green apples, would you not do everything in your power to explain that the diversity of apples is our greatest strength? That the toxicity of green apples has nothing to do with them being green? That any doctor who suggests that the government should carefully regulate the importation of green apples specifically is a racist? The central premise of our elite consensus is that we must continue to pretend that all apples are the same, no matter how many people pay for this lie with their lives.
Yeah, well, I think Mark Carney told us that green apple values are Canadian values. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of fun. It makes a couple of points here, right? He says, to not offend morons, we'll not talk about people, but apples, right? That's a very salient point just on its own, that you're not expected to just speak openly and accurately describe reality, because that reality itself is offensive, you know? But yeah, he's right, obviously. Obviously, I mean, the data's in. People are downloading the data, right? The data's in. These are issues that can't be ignored forever. They're going to criminalize noticing it. That's coming in Canada with Bill C9, right? They are actively trying to criminalize noticing what's happening in your country. This is already they're arresting 12,000 people a year in the UK for accurately describing reality. They're going to fight tooth and nail. The people who want to lay waste to your civilization are going to fight tooth and nail. All right. But I think it's going to get, I have to believe that sanity will win. I have to. Let's see. What's going on? Did I forget to do chocolate for Rosie? I forgot to. So when we do they, them energy, I got to do chocolate afterwards. It's in the contract. It's part of the negotiations, the collective bargaining we did on the channel regarding they, them energy. Not everybody's a fan, by the way. All right. But anyway, this is part of the negotiations. I have to do something chocolate now. Chocolate. Chocolate cake. Let's go there. What do we got? Let's see. Well, look at that. That looks good. That looks very good. Iceberg lava cake. Oh boy, look at that. I'm not really interested in watching the cooking of it. And there doesn't appear to be any boobs in this cooking video, so not very interested. But anyway, that was a good looking cake. Gotta say. You got to admit. What do we got here? Let's go back to noodles, our favorite. Hold on one second. That's all. That's all I can play, or else it gets copyrighted. All right. Chocolate. Let's see. Noodles. Yes, everybody's happy with the noodles. All right, let's just get to it. I'm getting tired, you guys. I'm starting to get a headache. We'll do as much of this as we can. Then we might have to knock it off because we started late tonight. Let's see. It's time for Donald Trump to take a good long look inside himself, Mark Carney. Oh, so this is the National Roast. This is satire. Let's see. The National Roast. Carney unveils AEWS 21 autonomous elbow warfare system in bold show of strength. The new autonomous elbow warfare system positions Canada for rapid, high-volume elbow saturation strikes in response to ongoing Trump trade war. Well, look at that. Look at all those elbows sticking out. Oh, elbows up, elbows up. I still can't believe that worked. Elbows, oh, pathetic. From the people who brought you, Canada's an ongoing perpetual genocide state, and Canada's a post-national country with no identity. Elbows up now. Now, if you don't do elbows up, you're a traitor or something. You're not patriotic. But also, don't forget that Canada is an illegitimate genocide state as well. What's going on here? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I didn't realize that the Olympics let him in that big. Jeez. So that's obviously AI. Obviously AI. I have to do this. I'm sorry. It's cruel, but the button's there. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules, people. Let's see. What's that? There is a like an ice maze, a snow maze. There's people going all through there. That's very interesting. I wouldn't like it, quite frankly. I'd get claustrophobic in that. So you won't see me in that thing. But they're having a good time. Let's see. They're probably not. They're all panicking. They're like, oh, Christ, I'm getting claustrophobic. Oh, I hate this. How do we get out of here? We're going to die in here. We're going to freeze to death. No thanks. Let's see. The rim's missing a tire, just like their skull's missing a brain. I wonder if this is one of the new truck drivers that Trudeau and Carney have brought into the country. Or maybe it's in the States. I know they have that same problem. Yeah, not great. Not. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, there you go. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, no. Now her ass is wet. God damn it. She almost did it. What's going on here? Oh, what a dingbat. What's that? Oh, hands in the pockets the whole time. Beautiful. Oh, jeez. That was a little anticlimactic, that last one. Some pretty good ones in there, though. What's this? Point proved in no time. So what's this? Point has never been proven faster than this. All right, let's take a look. So this is, what's his name? He's a famous comedian. He died very young of cancer. For some reason, I can't remember his name. Maybe it says under here. Let's see. Why can't I remember his name? Bill Hicks. That's it. Bill Hicks. Okay. And he died way too young. I think that the guy, what's his, I'm not going to try and remember more names. Let's see.
I learned a lot about women. I think I learned exactly how the fall of man occurred in the.
You know what? I'm going to save this for the next premium because this is just going to get copyrighted. So it probably won't with that much I played. We'll save that for the next premiums for next Monday. A declaration of memes. You heard me. Let's see. I want a stone lookout tower so I could watch my enemies. Builder, sir, this is a residential neighborhood. Me. And mount a machine gun on it. Builder, sir, the HOA. Me. Did I stutter? Did I stutter? Where's the machine gun, though? There was a house like this in the neighborhood I grew up in, actually, that had one of these. I always thought it was pretty cool. I'm not sure I see the machine gun, though, so I guess he didn't get everything he wanted. This is how they invented Oreos. Oh, what's this? Goddamn music. We don't need the music for this. Aww. They're best friends. That's nice. Aww. Dogs are great. Gotta love dogs. Let's see. Los Angeles DA Nathan Hochman announced Nick Reiner will be charged with the double homicide of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with a special circumstance of multiple murders. So, I mean, he didn't look, in recent pictures, he did not look happy. He looks mentally ill. It's probably a psychotic break due to drugs. Just horrible. I mean, that's just an awful, awful way to go at the hands of your own son that you're trying to help. It's just awful. Just horrible. How is this even possible? Well, that's a dog on a skateboard. Now, I've seen lots of videos of dogs on skateboards. They love it. And this is like from before AI. So I think this one is real because I've seen dogs do stuff like this. They love skateboarding and they're good at it too. Dog skateboarding maybe is my favorite thing, actually. I don't know. Might be. Let's see. Old Salty Marine posted this. A man and his wife are running out of money. Now out of options, the wife decides to take up prostitution to get some money. Her husband takes her to the corner of the street and later comes back that night picking up his wife. He turns to her and asks, How much did you make? She replies, 205 cents. The husband double takes and says, who's the asshole who paid you 5 cents? And the wife said, all of them. That's a good one. That's a really good one. So this is interesting. This billboard was removed as some claimed the tea kettle looked like Adolf Hitler. Now, when I saw this before I read the thing, and my first thought was, I thought it was a picture of Hitler. Honestly, it does, actually. It does look like Hitler.
That advertised a tea kettle now being sold by J.C. Penney. And oh, what an internet buzz it created. Because in the eyes of some people, the tea kettle bore a strong resemblance to Adolf Hitler. Will you be the judge? This is what the tea kettle looks like on the J.C. Penney website. Here's what the billboard looked like, and here's a picture of Hitler next to it. Now, what do you think?
It's a Hitler tea kettle. Honestly, I thought, what is that? That looks like Hitler. And then I read the thing, and I went, oh, it's a tea kettle? I don't know. It's pretty funny. I thought so. Mission successful. Let's take a look. What's going on here? It can't be good. She's got the, you know what's going to happen. She's got the cake on her lap. She's looking at her phone. Oh, no, we're not playing. We're not doing music. No, not doing that. It caused all kinds of problems for me. Mission successful. All right, there she is. It's a waste of a good cake. It's kind of mean. Kind of mean. I wouldn't do it. Let's see. Who's this? Jason Cohen put up this clip of Bill Maher, and he's saying he wants to have dinner with Trump again. So his understanding of Trump was radically altered by actually going and meeting the man and recognizing there's the public-facing politician Donald Trump, and then there's Donald Trump. They're not the same person, actually. We've heard this from many, many other people.
I hope to have dinner with him again. And, you know, he definitely doesn't like it when you critique him and thinks you're being unfair, but he is willing to listen.
Yeah.
And if he totally is not, because I, you know, had dinner with him and then didn't become a Trumpist, he will yell at me, but does not want to cut me off. He does not want to cut me off, which is something I cannot say about the left.
Well,
they want to cut you off.
Well,
I hope to have dinner with him again.
I think he's coming around. I think he's coming around. I think he's realizing, like, yeah, you don't, yeah, the Trump supporters, MAGA, just the non-batshit crazy people, are not far right. It's not a bunch of far right. It's actually a big tent of all, like, classical liberals and moderates, and there's people more to the right. And there's vanishingly few actual at what I would consider far right. And most of, like, were Nazis far right, or were they socialists? Were they leftists? And if you look at the results of Nazism and you look at the results of, like, Stalinism, kind of mirror images, right? Like, they're kind of the same thing. So, yeah, I'm kind of, I don't really believe that the national, I don't believe the National Socialists were far right anyway. So he's coming around to understanding that actually just the rational people are all on this side. And you may not like Trump's demeanor, right? You might find them crude, but all of the sane people are over here. Right, the people that want to do sex changes for children, and the people who want to have so much regulation that you can't fix your garage for 8 years while you try and wade through it and spend $100,000 on licenses. You know, those people are over on the left now. They're with the batshit crazy crowd. So I think it's coming up. Maybe at some point he actually really will take that leap. And just say, yeah, I don't want to be with the crazies. I don't want to be with the people that will just cut me off if I talk to the wrong person or say the wrong thing once. We'll see. Maybe he will. I just like this. This is good. This is just kind of wholesome, almost. The life of your computer keyboard. Let's take a look.
요즘 컨디션 어때? Not bad.
I really like it. There's all the keys, the space bar that get used all the time. Then you've got like the F11, F12 key, just, scroll, lock, pause, break. Oh, hold on. All the ones that you never use are just kind of sitting around chilling. These guys. It's good. That's a good one. All right. How long is this one? Let's see. So Eva Fox posted this. Elon Musk, the fundamental weakness of Western civilization is the empathy exploit. Yes, of course. This is something Gadsad talks about all the time. I believe he's publishing a book soon about suicidal empathy. Empathy gone wrong. Empathy that is no longer useful to a civilization. In fact, it's counterproductive and irrational. Out-group preference, extreme out-group preference, which is a disease of the left. Let's take a look.
There's a guy who posts on X who's great, Godsad, and he talks about basically suicidal empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's so much empathy that you actually suicide yourself.
Yeah.
So that we've got civilizational suicidal empathy going on. And it's I believe in empathy. I think you should care about other people, but you need to have empathy for civilization as a whole and not commit to a civilizational suicide.
Also, don't let someone use your empathy against you so they can completely control your state and then do an insanely bad job of managing it and never get removed.
The fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. The empathy exploit. They're exploiting a bug in Western civilization, which is the empathy response. I think empathy is good, but you need to think it through and not just be programmed like a robot.
Right. Understand when empathy has been actually used as a tool.
Yes. It's weaponized empathy is the issue.
See, I'm for rational altruism, right? So a drug addict maybe having a difficult time getting drugs, but is giving them drugs really empathetic? Is that real empathy, right? Maybe helping them get off drugs. That's rational altruism, right? Because everybody wins. You've got one less drug addict you have to deal with, contend with it. In Canada, hey, that's a real win. And also the addict wins because they have a chance that there's some opportunity for them to not live a horrible suicidal existence too. Rational altruism, right? Like what you do with your family, for instance. I'm for that, right? You don't let your kid eat candy for every meal because they cry, right? That's the left. The left lets their kid eat candy for every meal to keep them from crying and being upset. That's not actual empathy. That's actually selfishness. So, yeah, and what we have in the West, it has been, and it continues to be suicidal empathy. Fortunately, in the United States, that is turning now. There's a sense of responsibility is reaffirming itself, is reasserting itself. Reality is reasserting itself, and you know that because the suicidal empathy at the border, that's been shut down. And if you really look into it, what was happening to a lot of those people on that trip, and then what happens to Americans, not only in terms of crime, but in terms of economics, inflation, standard of living, it seems like what Trump's doing is actually the kind of more rationally empathetic thing. More, you might call it rational altruism. But anyway, Elon's right. And Joe Rogan's right as well. All right. Well, I'm glad we did that one. What's this? This deer probably thought he was in a dream. Is it real? Is it AI? I think it's real. There must be another deer, and it was like, morning, baby. Looks over. Oh, shit. You gotta think, I mean, isn't there a chance that you're doing that and all of a sudden the thing freaks out and reaches back with its head and bites your finger off? Because I'm sure it probably could. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. How about this? Joe Rogan Podcast News commentary account. Elon Musk is asking, doesn't it seem weird that the legacy media all say the same thing at the same time using the same phrases? It sure is weird. It's like their teleprompters are all fed from the same source. It's weird. And it actually goes beyond, say, in the United States, CNN, NBC News, ABC News, MS Now. It's the CBC. It's the BBC. It's like they all are getting the same feed into their teleprompters, but maybe they change a few names around. It's weird. It's actually not weird, actually. It actually when you take a look at what's being done to all of the Western countries all at the same time, it starts to make a bit more sense.
Doesn't it seem weird that the legacy media all says the same thing? They all say the same thing at the same time using the same phrases. They don't even bother picking up a thesaurus.
Right.
So, like right before, the debate between Biden and,
Sharp as
and
a
Trump.
tack.
Sharp, everyone was saying sharp as a tack. Like, who says sharp as a tack? But
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like it's not a common phrase.
It's definitely not common to be repeated on air with multiple people simultaneously. That's weird.
Yes.
That's coordinated.
100%. Doesn't it seem weird that the legacy...
See, it makes perfect sense if the establishments in every Western country are colluding together to push a common agenda. Then it makes perfect sense, right? Well, of course you do. How do you manipulate the public? Well, you do it through the media, obviously, right? Let's see. Who shows up in Davos to meet with each other every year? Oh, yeah, all the Western leaders. Huh. And they all talk about their plans, and the plans all seem to be very, very similar. Like mass immigration seems to be very similar in every country. So, yeah, it all starts to make sense when you just pay attention to what they're actually doing, right? Elon Musk asks, who sends them their instructions? Real question. Well, I think that these leaders all get together in Davos every year, and they all agree on what the path forward is, that they all are looking forward to, and in fact, lust for the kind of totalitarian control that is exercised in China. And they all agree they should all pursue that themselves. And the media in each respective country is given the game plan, and they all obey. They're all subservient. they all agree this is a great thing, and they all do their part, and that's how you get it. And it all makes sense if our elites hate us. What's this one here? All right, this is the last one. So I swear Bill Maher is coming around. One day he will join us. One day he will join us where everybody isn't. One day he will join the not batshit crazy side. Vigilant Fox posted this. Bill Maher snaps at Anna Kasparian after she blames Islam on whitey. So It seems like Anna Kasparian has been having a little bit of, she's been rehabilitated a little bit, but obviously she's still not ready to take the full step into sanity yet. Let's take a look.
If you had to live in the Middle East, so tomorrow, Anna, you got to go live in the Middle East, where would you live? You can pick one city, any city. You can, as far away as, say, Pakistan. You could live in Karachi. You could live in Cairo. You could live in Amman, Jordan. You seem to love Lebanon. I mean, Beirut's nice when the bombing's not happening and the assassinations have stopped. Or you could live in Syria. I hear that's wonderful in the summer.
Well, we now have Al-Qaeda terrorists leading Syria.
Or the Houthis, I'm sure, would make room for you.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv, or the West Bank, Ramallah, I think is wonderful for a little, in the fall, it gets lovely. Where would you live? What city would you live in?
Well,
where do you think you'd be comfortable in that dress?
I'm sure it would not be comfortable in this dress in any of the various Middle Eastern countries that have been destabilized by
You're not
the United States.
You're not really blaming it on Whitey.
Listen.
Are you? You're blaming Islam on Whitey?
I'm not blaming Islam on Whitey.
But what you're saying is we destabilized. That's why you can't wear that dress.
Did we not destabilize?
Wait a second.
We were funding terrorist organizations in Syria during the Syrian civil war, starting under the Obama administration.
That's why
did that not destabilize Syria?
No, what's destabilized?
There's a literal Al-Qaeda terrorist.
We're talking about your dress. Why?
It looks good. I know it looks good.
You're saying you can't wear that dress in Syria because of Whitey destabilizing?
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's
You're putting words in my mouth.
Okay, great.
But the United States did destabilize various Middle Eastern countries. Are you going to deny that?
I asked about the dress, and you went right to destabilize. So is that why you couldn't wear that dress? Why couldn't you wear that dress? Why couldn't you walk down?
You want me to talk about jihadism and Islam, but
why won't you?
Listen.
Why won't you?
I mean,
Why?
I don't believe in jihadism, which is why I'm furious that the United States just had a freaking Al-Qaeda terrorist in the White House.
It's not just jihadism that is preventing you from wearing that dress. Are you saying every Muslim is a jihad? I don't think they are.
Bill.
Okay, why can't you wear that dress?
Let's focus for a second.
No, you won't. You won't answer this question.
I got a solution.
If you had to,
I got a solution for Anna Kasparian. Okay, so go back to the Iraq War. Now go back 1,500 years. All your answers are there in the last 1,500 years. All your answers are there. You won't need to have to wonder anymore. It's all out in the open right there. Just do that. All right. So I guess that's it, people. I guess that's it. Reminder for people on YouTube, Rumble people don't have to worry about this, but on YouTube, there's a second channel, Radio Baloney News. It's a new channel. All the world news, UK news, blah, blah, blah. You know the story, meme reviews. It's all going to be there. If you want to see that, you got to go there. Featured channel on the homepage for this channel. Go there, subscribe right now. The algorithm is not going to help me out, and it hates me and it hates you, so don't let it win. Don't let it win. What's going on this? Why is this stopped? Oh, well, you know what? Actually, that's a great frame, though. Let's leave it right there. That's a great frame. All right, let's do this last bit of chat. You guys, I'm tired as hell. So let's do a little bit of chat, and we're going to leave it off, and then we'll be back strong on Friday. I wonder if it's because I came out so hard. I had so much energy. I was so powerful in the first hour of the stream. I wonder if I was too powerful, too potent. I wonder if I was too amazing in that first hour. I don't know. Let's see. What is Rosie saying? I guarantee she would have been more accepting of these ideas if the cake was chocolate. What are we talking about? You guys didn't even talk about the stuff that I'm talking about on the screen, for God's sakes. Let's see. Rosie says, apparently the kettle ad was in 2013. I had never heard of it, but they do have a point. I mean, the kettle does look a bit like Hitler. It really does. I don't think it is Hitler or that it's a Nazi kettle. It's just weirdly by accident. It looks a little like Hitler if you look at it from the right angle. Let's see. Izzy says he's trying to walk the line while clearly slipping more to the right. I think what it is with, and I've seen this with lefties, and people that were typical liberals. You could even say classical liberals. 20 years ago, who it's just been bred into them by their parents, by the people around them, that conservative is bad. Conservatives are bad people. Conservative ideas are bad. So even when the left races to the left, and it turns out that things that were considered to be liberal ideas are now called by the left far right. So even then, the programming has been so complete that, they just go along with it, right? So they don't even seem to recognize that things that they believed 20 years ago and were perfectly liberal then are now considered to be, fascist or something. Like, I guarantee you every liberal 20 years ago was a defender of free speech. Now they've just kind of gone along with this. Well, actually, it's kind of fascism or something. But it's because their identity becomes so tied with that label, right? It's like Calvin Klein or Gucci or something like that. It just has become so unfashionable for them. And the right is so demonized, right? So that even if somebody holds a position that they held 20 years ago when they called themselves a liberal, if the people around them are saying that's far right now, they'll just go with it because, and they'll just ignore that cognitive dissonance and go with it because it really comes down to fashion for them. It comes down to fashion. Let's see. Radio Streamer says that keyboard video is gold. It's really good. Rosie says funny keyboard. I like that a lot. Not political, just nice. As he says, oh, cool. Rogan's had Gad said on, so he knows him, but didn't know Elon knew of him and his ideas. I knew that Elon had talked with Gad said before. I think they are, I think they're friendly. Let's see. Rosie says, destabilized. Yes, my ancestors were Christians in Lebanon. So it was an influx of Palestinian refugees that destabilized Lebanon, correct? That is what Gad Sad says. Radio Streamer's out of here. Good night, everyone. Rosie says, my Saudi students were very clear there were no women allowed to leave the airport without a male escort. No leg showing, no shorts, no short skirts. Yes. Let's see. Are you too tired for commie hate, Ed Reed? Yeah, I think so. Let's see. The Kettler or the Hettel? True to Survivor. I think Kettler. I'd call it the Hitler Kettler. I call the Kettler. Oh, I see. On topic, the chat had ideas from Rosie, ideas about the woman who had cake splashed on her. I was telling them she was not receptive to their ideas, but she might have been if the cake was chocolate. Well, who could? Chocolate cake is delicious. Everybody knows it. All right. There's our 3 hours and 10 minutes tonight, folks. All right. Well, thank you for showing up, everyone. Thanks for showing up late because, I apologize that we couldn't go the regular time, but, family's got to come first and I just have to do that. So, but we did get one going. Thanks, everybody, for showing up anyway, showing up late. And I think you guys were in good form tonight in the chat, by the way. Very good form. And it's a good thing you guys were here because otherwise it'd be depressing. But if you guys keep showing up, I will keep showing up. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. And I'll see everybody Friday night, 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time. Have a great week, everyone. Talk soon.